Welcome to another episode of the Booktroverts Podcast. I'm McKayla.
I'm Meg.
And today we are talking about Onyx Storm, and I have a prop today, and I'm so excited.
Mine behind me, if you can see it in the corner. I feel like it needed to be there for decor.
Yeah, I never have a physical book, so it's just like so exciting to be able to be like, I have it. So this is honestly the episode that we have all been waiting for, counting down months for. And so if you have not read the whole book, please leave this episode and come back once you have finished, because we are going to be talking in depth about spoilers about events that happen in the book, because we need to chat about it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let people have time to leave. Give them a second. If you're still here, we are going to be breaking this episode into two parts because there honestly is just way too much that happened in this book, which is definitely not a bad thing for us. But the plan is to cover up through the visits to the various Isle Kingdoms in this episode, which is pretty much like prologue through chapter 44. Obviously based off timing, we'll see if we get to that point. And then we would hope to do the next episode would be a recap of the ending. So that would be like chapters 45 through 66, as well as any additional theories we have for book 4 and the rest of the series. So again, if you are still here and have not finished the book, this is your final call to leave the episode.
You sound like a flight attendant. This is your final call.
This is your final call. The doors are shutting. It's just like I don't want to ruin anyone's reading experience because I was so happy that we were not spoiled, because there were spoilers being leaked the week before on social, and it was just like so nice being able to not be spoiled, read it fresh. And I just don't want to ruin anyone else's experience. But before we jump in, I do have to tell you one thing I was thinking about last night.
Oh boy.
It is wild when you think about it. Fourth Wing and Iron Flame came out within like 7 months of each other.
Yeah.
Iron Flame came out. Fourth Wing came out in April of 2023. Iron Flame came out like that November, I think. Then we waited like 15 months, if I did that math correctly, 14 months for this one.
Yeah.
And then it'll probably be like 2 years till the next one.
I know.
So I don't feel bad for people who complain like, I want Iron Flame. You got it in 7 months.
Yeah. We read it pretty much, I mean, because we started the series literally, I think, in October, and then loved it. The next one came out and read it, and then we basically have done this waiting period. But honestly, I'm sad as a reader that we have to wait years, but you and I have talked about this many times. I respect the hell out of Rebecca saying my health comes first. I'm taking time. And she also says she's going to do another contemporary in between. That's how she writes her book. So good for her that she's going to do another one, because you know what? Yeah. Who cares? We'll wait. I mean, like, I'm not going anywhere.
I will. Hopefully I'm still here. I need to know. Like, don't take me before the series ends.
Yeah. I'd want to get to the end of it, but I will gladly keep rereading and build up more theories and everything over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it just gives us more time. But like, it's just crazy. I was like thinking about that. I'm like, that's wild that she released 2 books in the same year. We all need to give this woman grace, because then she went right into this one. And Iron Flame is humongous. So just crazy. I needed to just point that little thing out. But now actually going into like the episode, before we fully start deep diving, let's talk about what you rated the book, and then also where you rank it in the series at this point. So with the first 3 books. So I will let you go first with yours, because I feel like we're probably going to be on the same page, but who knows?
I think we are. So easy 5 stars. I mean, if I could rate, 10 out of 5, I would. Unbelievable. It was so good. Every part of the book I really enjoyed. And I know that we'll get into it more as we go into the chapters, but there were parts that were definitely more detail than others, but it felt similar to Iron Flame, where you got that detail. But I enjoyed it, the whole thing. Do I remember every detail? No, but that's fine. I would say this is my number 1 of the entire series, and then I would do Fourth Wing and then Iron Flame. And it's nothing against Iron Flame. It's just, for me, I really enjoyed getting to know the characters in that first book, and then this one we're getting new characters, but we're also getting a lot more areas, more action. I mean, Xaden leveled up in this book. Like, what the hell? I did not expect that. So that's kind of my listing of them.
I'm on the exact same page as you. Like,
okay,
6-star read. Like, come on. I'm seeing people give, like, someone I know gave it a 4-star, and I'm looking at them differently these days. I'm looking at them differently.
Oh,
I literally was saying in a video, I normally totally can understand if people are like, I didn't like this book, and I'm like, okay, I could see it. And,
Yeah.
I go around just shitting on Throne of Glass, like every opportunity I have.
It's so
And I'm
good.
like always like, oh my God, these people take it so serious. And they're like, why could you hate this book? And I'm like, I get it now. I'm personally offended when people are saying this is not a good book. I
Yeah.
feel like I wrote this book and it is my baby. Like, you must like it. I just think it's perfection. I honestly think it is a fucking masterpiece.
So good.
And I agree. Top spot for me as well, just because it's such a good blend. We're more in it with the characters, we're more in the world. There was so much happening. It was so fast paced, I thought. And it was a good mix
Yeah.
of romantasy and also we're upping the stakes. We're upping the world building. I loved it. Fourth Wing would be second. Honestly, it's the nostalgia of it. It's just what made you fall in love with the characters, fall in love with the world. Nothing will replace that feeling of reading that book for the first time. And then Iron Flame, still a 5-star read for me. Still love it. It's just slower. And I think that's the purpose of it. It was to lay the groundwork for Onyx Storm. And so it did that.
I'm with you. And to your point, all of them are 5 stars. It's not like there was anything that was lower than a 5 stars in their series. I mean, it's just they were all good for their own reason and what they did for the series so far. And I can't even imagine how 4 is going to be, if it's going to be another setup for 5, just because she does that type of writing style. So I have no idea what we're going to get, but I am super freaking excited for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
I'm here for it.
I need it like now. I needed it like yesterday. Okay. The
We
ending.
finished it. I needed it immediately.
Like just the way it ended. Obviously, we will talk about the ending in the next episode, but like
Yeah.
we are going to allude to things that happen later in the book in this. So we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to it.
So now that we got that out of the way, the elephant, the ratings, how we thought. Now we can dive in. So this book opens right after the events of Iron Flame and the Battle of Basgiath, like literally moments after the battle has ended. So I'm thinking we should just start by breaking down that whole section, which is like prologue through about chapter 12, where we are at Basgiath, and then we also are going to Samara. Thinking it'll probably be easier to walk through the events as they unfolded in the book. Also, I'm in my living room, so if you hear dogs, that is Kobe just wanting to be the star of the show as he like aggressively licks his water. Of course.
We love him though.
Oh my God. He always has to wait until like I'm recording something and he's like, I'm here.
Yeah, always.
Main character energy. So a lot of people, if you've been following any of the videos on social, have been saying / kind of complaining that they found this first chunk of the book confusing because there's a lot of names going on. There's a lot of different politics that we're talking about. We're getting the leaders together. We're making treaties. There's things going on. So I just want to start by asking, what did you think of this first chunk of the book?
I can sympathize and understand where people are saying it's a lot of new items and people, they're mentioning places, all this stuff. However, I don't think I'm going to complain as much as other people are because I still really liked it and it sets you up for the rest of the book. I think people are just so used to getting excited for the action of this series. And don't get me wrong, the action is phenomenal and I love it. I probably end up rereading the chapters multiple times because I'm just so hyped up and getting into the action. But I really like how we kind of reset that even though, oh my God, the battle literally just happened at Basgiath, we're still taking a bit of time to reset and understand and lay the groundwork down for the rest of the book. And I didn't have any issues with it. I do not remember every little detail in terms of people's names. I know that I'm not really good when it comes to annotating and stuff like that. It's something I do want to do when we do a reread of this series. But for me as a first read, I had no problem with it. I still liked it. I have notes on it. I was able to comprehend most of it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe I'm on my own island over here on that, but what about you?
I mean, I definitely have told people that are reading the books now or whatever, hey, just prepare yourself the first 8 to 10 chapters. A little confusing. There's a lot of names going around. I remember I had texted you what the hell is the scenarium? Have we heard of this before? Yeah. I went back and I checked Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Love that you can search on the Kindle. And that term is only used once in Iron Flame in an epigraph. And it just says the King's Scenarium or whatever the fuck the word is. And there's no description. So we weren't supposed to know what that was. We were supposed to learn about it in this book. And I think, honestly, a lot of people chose not to do a reread of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. So you went into it not having a refresher of the people. And there was a lot of people we met in Iron Flame. A lot of politics started being laid down in Iron Flame.
A lot.
Now, even with us who had just done a refresh, it still was a little confusing, but I think it was intentional because I think Rebecca's putting you in the characters and they don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
They're just as blind as we are. They're meeting these people. Violet's learning that Xaden's on this council. We're supposed to go on that journey with them. And honestly, once you get through that little chunk, the rest of the book makes perfect sense. And there's still so much happening in that beginning that, like you said, we were able to understand perfectly. So I think people, one, didn't want to do a reread and then are mad that they're confused.
Yeah.
And two, they like just want Rebecca to literally just tell them everything, where it's like, that is not what this is transitioning to. This is transitioning to more like high fantasy, a Throne of Glass style, where like you're going to get breadcrumbs. And she's not going to just like lay everything out on the page for you. And I do think that this will be the book where people will drop.
I'm with you 100% because if they were in it more for the romance side of it with a side of dragons and a little bit of fantasy, then probably not going to be the series for you. I mean, granted, we're saying this in terms of I have no idea what's going to happen in 4 or 5, but with how shit went down, I think it's going to get more into the fantasy realm, which I have no problem with.
I think there'll still be romance, but I don't think it's going to be like the main plot point.
And I'm okay with that because in all honesty, she's also given us a slow, gradual build up to this. It wasn't just a drop you in high fantasy, oh my god, what's going on? It was a let me slowly introduce you to Basgiath in Navarre. You get into that. Then we go to Arisha. We understand that area. Okay, now we're going to the Isles and we're trying to learn more. And we only just touched the surface on all that too. I mean, a couple days in each thing. No, that's not enough. We know that stuff's coming back. There's things that are going to come back and you need that ground level before you get to the next. And, I mean, to your point too, I didn't even think of that, but the reread was crucial because even though I don't remember every single one of the epigraphs and all of that stuff, they're important. Yeah. Every single one of them either plays to that current chapter you're reading or it's going to be, you know, for a future book because there have been some that are hinting at future stuff that goes on.
And I think that's just like a personal choice. If you don't want to do it, then I don't think you're allowed to complain when you are confused because you have to think about it like she's writing one continuous story. She's not writing it with like, oh, you didn't get the book for 15 months. The story paused for 15 months and we're jumping. The story's still happening where we left it. Yeah. We just had to wait for that story because we're reading it in real time. That's how I feel. I'm like, you didn't want to do a reread? That's on you. Google is your best friend. And
I was going to say the Cliff Notes would have been fine. Do the Cliff Notes if you don't want to put that much time in.
And don't be blowing up your friends' phones who did do the reread with 10 million questions. Just saying. Just saying.
We can only take so many questions.
I'm like, I'm happy to give you the high level things, but there's certain things that I'm just like, honey, if you don't remember this, like we have bigger problems here.
Did you read the book though?
Did you read it? Did you read it? Okay, literally starting off right in the beginning. I think this is either chapter 1 or the prologue. We have Andarna, so much Andarna in the beginning, which I loved. And we have her talking about the fight. And I flagged this quote because I think this is perfect for, it's so funny because now like going back to do the notes for this, I was like, oh my God, it was literally right here. You know, you pause when you read it, but you're like, okay, you don't know what's going to be important yet. So she says, and I quote, I've been thinking about it all night. Magic feels different when I change color. Maybe my use of power in that moment altered the venin, weakened her enough to blister because she like literally roasts that venin at the end of Iron Flame, and they're not supposed to be affected by Dragonfire.
No.
I need your thoughts on this whole thing with Andarna because I'm thinking this is foreshadowing for why later when they're in the Isles, Violet can talk to her dragon still, and she can wield, even though she thinks that she, like, when everyone's like, was the lightning you? And she's like, no, of course it wasn't. I think it was her, and I think it's because Andarna is magic, and so she doesn't need to channel from something. Like she just always has it, and so Violet's always able to access it. And it's like setting up how the seventh den is so different from the other dragon breeds.
When reading it, I just go, oh, maybe it's something to do with the fact that we don't know, and obviously we don't know enough about her den, even with the fact that we've met a few of them and all of that, but it is so powerful at the beginning because it's just, oh my God, this could change the whole tide of the war. And is this how they were gone years ago? Is this what happened? But yeah, I did not catch on about anything with Andarna being the power source in a way for Violet to still channel on the Isles. I did not the whole thing.
Oh, me either. Let me make that very clear. I did not pick up on that on my first read. It's not until I finish the book and I'm going back to like pull my notes of like what happened in these sections, and I'm like,
it's all there.
This is it.
It literally is so enchaining how just the first couple chapters with everyone saying there's so much in it is so important at the end. You need to have that information and remember it and everything. But I didn't even catch on to the fact that, you know, Violet could talk to her two dragons. I go, oh, maybe it's because of her signet and that she can, you know, she's in their mind. I was still going with that theory for the most of it. I was just in hard on that theory that we had talked about when we did the prep podcast. But it's just so crazy to me how you, like you said, when you go back for notes and see something, I'm like, oh wow, that was actually there.
Yeah. And this is jumping ahead to the Isles section, but because we're talking about it right now, I think it's either this Andarna theory where Andarna is magic, she can channel through magic from Andarna, or because she was able to talk to Taryn, which, like, how would she be able to do that just if she's pulling from Andarna? I think it has to do with her, like, partial dedication to the gods, and like she's able to access that type of magic on the Isles. I'm not even sure. I still need to do a full reread of all three books now to understand the gods and the dedication process, but I don't know. I'm thinking it's one of those two things.
I have so many open questions on that. I want to
I'll be dropping them throughout the episode.
every you know, group are gonna have 15,000 questions.
Yeah, Meg was so nice, and she like set up our outline for us, and at the bottom it said like theories / questions, and I was like, I can't, because I have to put them with the note of the chapter because I will forget. So mine are just coming throughout the episode because there's
That's totally fine.
I was like, I will forget what this meant.
Yeah, but like I told you, when I finished the book, I didn't have anything. I go, I am so numb right now. I have nothing to produce in terms of information. But that's how I wrote my notes, was just everything, nothing. Meg's lost.
As you like start thinking about it more, things come like that. Yeah, putting things together. I was like, oh wait, this is and I texted you like, I have more theories than I thought. Another thing I picked up on, which I don't really think picked up on is the right word, it was pretty obvious. Taryn really hates Xaden now that he has been in, like, bad. And just doing a callback to something that you had pointed out in the last episode, talking about how he always refers to Andarna as Golden One, even though she's changed, always referring to Violet as Silver One, which I don't think I noticed it as much this book if he did that. But Xaden was always the wing leader, like, shall I get the wing leader? And this one, he is only called Dark One, which I just think is interesting that they're all like shades and colors.
Yeah, I know.
And just gonna hit you with another theory because I told you I'm sprinkling them in. Okay, I went like feral on TikTok and I posted a ton of Onyx Storm theories before the book came out. And I love other people because they're so much smarter than me. And they really have convinced me of a couple that, like, so I cannot take credit for any of these, but the theory that Naolan had turned Venin when he was trying to save Brennan, or maybe even before then, I love that theory. Because I definitely think he's important, because he just gets brought up the most random ways and so cryptic. But people think that then it forced Taryn to have to break the bond with him because he was not going to be bonded to a Venin. And so I feel like this is hinting towards that theory, because like he's so angry about the fact that Xaden is Venin, calling him Dark One. And I don't think he likes that Violet and Sigale are really like on his team and trying to protect him and like save him. He never really is in on the plan to like find a cure for him. That's all coming from Andarna being like, whatever way, we will find a way. We were going to cure him. Taryn's never jumping in on those conversations.
I am with you 100%. And to your first point about them being colors, it starts off bright and airy. And then
Shut up right now. Shut up right now. Meg, it's the colors of the books.
Yeah.
Except for Iron Flame.
It all fades color.
Iron Flame's
a reddish orange.
Well, here's Silver One. Here's Dark One.
Dark One. And Gold One only.
Yeah, Iron Flame is like orange and red.
To me, I really think we're getting... We talked about getting high fantasy. I don't know.
Just the rest of them going to be black?
Like, is it going to be a metallic black? You know, Andarna's scales.
Oh my god, it's going to be
different colors.
Yeah. Shimmering, iridescent.
Yeah, but I'm with you 100%. I don't think he likes him. I think he has been very against Violet trying to do anything to save him, because I really think something happened with Naolan. And every time he is brought up, he always will say, we don't talk about the previous writer. And the
never uses his name.
Never. And he always... When we go back to the fact that in the beginning of Fourth Wing, they say that Taryn hasn't been seen in years. He has, you know, kept himself away. I think he was doing that dreamless sleep that they do, the rest after they break a bond.
Okay, probably suffering from symptoms.
Yeah.
Which I
And
think
I
he
think
might be suffering from at the end of this book. We'll get there in the next episode.
we'll get there, and I'm already panicking for it.
Yeah.
But I really think that he had to end it so that he was okay. And that he only bonded because of the fact that obviously Violet, saves Indarna and all that stuff. But he has to come up more in the fourth book. He has to.
I love Taryn. I don't know what his future looks like. It feels bleak, but I just noticed that he real fucking hates Aiden in this book. Before he'd be like, should I get the wing leader, trying to encourage them, and then now he's just not about it.
He's done. He's done.
He's over him.
They don't even talk through the bond either. Thinking of that, because the four of them used to kind of just shoot the shit with each other, and that doesn't happen.
No, he probably blocked him out. He's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing this again.
Mental blocks.
I'm not doing this because he's probably worried that what I thought, Violet is going to eventually turn venom. He's probably worried, this guy's going to be a bad influence on you. You're going to turn venom. I'm going to break the bond again. And I just already told you this is my last time getting a rider.
Right.
So you're
I'm dying at this point.
That's why.
You don't have to die, but I'm going to die.
Yeah, he's pissed. I don't blame him. He's like, who signed me up to hang out with these 21-year-olds?
Yeah.
Not about it.
One of the things that I was interested about, and I can't remember when it starts in these chapters, but the tempered runes are a huge piece of this book. Huge. And I think they're going to be super important in the future. The fact that even, and I feel like I'm jumping down, but Halden wants Violet to go get something for him that kind of amplifies the lesser magics.
That little amulet thing almost. I forget the name of it. Yeah, that necklace that Cat helps them go get.
Yeah, Amlian Citrine. I have the name right here because I underlined it so I could remember. This is my thing. If I don't, I'll just be like blah blah blah. The yakety yak. But I really think that these runes are going to be so crucial to figuring out how to defeat the venom as well. Because if you think about it, riders have not been trained on this stuff for a while. And
because it's outlawed.
Slowly been giving her, in
Navarre.
And Xaden been slowly been giving her things of here's how you do things.
I think it's interesting. Sorry to cut you off. I think it's interesting that she's so good at everything except for the runes. She's the only one who can't get
terrible. She's like, this is useless.
She cannot do it. And it's obviously they're going to be important because Rebecca did confirm that all the covers, they are runes.
What?
Oh, did I not send you that TikTok?
I don't think so.
Yeah, these designs are all runes.
Oh my God. Okay, that makes so much more sense.
So they're definitely going to be important.
I'm having a very shocking moment going on.
I forget which city, one of her little tour things that she's doing. She confirmed that. Or maybe it was on GMA, but yeah. It's definitely going to be important. And you have to think, why did they outlaw it if it's not something crucial?
And is it Devera is teaching them how to do it? I think she was kind of the primary one. Or
I think so. It might be Trissa. Maybe it's one of the other.
It's one of the
one of the people from Marisha. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're huge into you need to understand this stuff, which I really think it's going to be important. Even just the shield ones. I don't know. It's gonna.
Well, Brennan has one on his hand. And again, Rebecca was asked about it. And she was like, wouldn't you like to know what that means? So clearly it means something. I love
how she just says, you suspect, figure out, be suspicious.
Yeah.
I love her.
And we find out when we go to the Isles, which, again, we'll touch on later, but some of them work there when other magic doesn't. So, there's a reason it was outlawed. Crucial. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
A big topic I want to talk about and big theories I have going on. Okay.
All right.
So, again, I really came prepared this week. I was not taking any time to look through my fucking highlights. So I came with my quotes. And I paid attention so hard to these epigraphs because I was like, I learned my lesson for the first 2 books. So, epigraph for chapter 2 says, the rarest of signets, those that rise once in a generation or century, have manifested concurrently with an equal twice in our records, both critical times in our history, but only once have the 6 most powerful walked the continent simultaneously. So we also then learn, I don't know if it's in the same chapter or later, but that Violet and Xaden are the first shadow and lightning wielder combo since the Great War. So it says, the last time they fought side by side, they managed to drive the venom back into the Barrens for a few hundred years. We'll figure out how to do it again. So my theory is I 100% think this is history repeating itself. Now, 100%. We have met Lyra and what's the other guy's name? Warwick?
Why do I say Warwick?
Yeah, I think it's Warwick. Yeah. We have no clue who the other remainder of the 6 are, their names. Lyra comes up a few times in this one. She has a couple epigraphs. But we have no clue what their signets are. I do think the signets will match up like 1-to-1 of the 6 from the Great War.
I agree.
So my theory is, currently at this point, with the information we have, obviously the first 2 are going to be Xaden and Violet, because they made such a thing
100%.
about you're the first Shadow Lightning Wielder combo, and like that combo fought the Venom before. Garrick, I think, is going to be in there, because we thought he was just like over here wind wielding. No. Homeboy is distance wielding. So important.
Very
That gives them
important.
such an
Crucial.
advantage. Yeah. Auric having precognition, he's definitely in there. In Fourth Wing, when they talk about Melgren being able to like see the outcomes of battles, that was like earth shattering to them. That changed the game. Auric literally wipes the floor with Melgren with his, because he can see everything, not just battles. So it has to be him. And I'm TBD on the last 2. And I know we have talked about it, and we threw out like maybe Dane being more powerful, because there is that line at the end when Sloane is siphoning his magic and she says like, someone like you should not have this much power. So does he have a second signet? Is he downplaying what his signet is, and maybe his dad forced him to do that? I don't know. Could it be Sloane? I don't think siphoning on its own would be part of this 6, but maybe if she gets a second signet, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts of like, do you think those 4 that I said are it? Do you think it's a different group? Who do you think the other 2 would be? I don't know. I just feel like if it was not going to be a 1-to-1 match, Rebecca would have given us some information already.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we are purposely not finding out about the rest of the 6 and their signets is intentional, because everything she does is intentional, and we're going to find out about it down the line. But I agree with you that the first 4 are definitely the 4 that I think are the top 4 powerful ones. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because I know a lot of people are obsessed with, I'm calling them the core 4. You have Violet, Rhee, Sawyer, and Riddick. And you would think, oh, they have to have the top 4 signets. But in all reality, I think Rhee's is very valuable. The fact that she can summon things, I think that's super cool. And the fact that
and it's the first
every
time
year
that's happened in like a century.
I was going to say, every time we mention hers, it's always, this is the first time. Same with the rest of them. Oh, this hasn't been done in years, blah, blah, blah. We haven't seen this in forever. And I think that there's a reason why these characters are getting it, because they're loyal to, I don't want to say the greater good, because that sounds so freaking cheesy, but in the sense that they're not just, they're the greater good for the entire group, not just Navarre. I'm with you. I really am questioning on if it's Dane, just because of that last bit of knowledge that we get at the end. But I'm really, I think Rhee's my other one as a potential. And we just don't know enough about Bodhi, because he has the counter, the signets, but he's the only one that
He can't counter Venom signets though, which crazy bit of information we learned in this book, that they have signets.
Right. And he can't do shit to protect anyone or do anything to help. So I have no idea what's going to happen there. But I question if he's going to have some shocking thing that happens to him in the next book that would make him one of the top ones. Because I really think the fact that most of them are the marked ones, I think is valuable too. I think that's a huge point, is the fact that most of them already have 2 signets and that they're going to be the most powerful. But I don't know. I keep going back and forth between person and person, but I think Dane's leading the charge in terms of someone who's going to be super powerful. And then Rhee. And those are my 2.
When you said Bodhi, like, is he going to get something in the next book that'll make him, turn Venom? It's on the table. It's on the table. He could be. Rhee, I think she's going to die.
Oh, I think she's going to die 100%. So that's where I'm
so she's out.
About her. Right. Is she powerful until she isn't needed anymore?
Yeah.
But then I think also Brennan is super, I feel like there's something else about him. I don't think he's going to be the top 6, but
I will have to say though, my boy Riddick having the most basic fucking signet, and then he's like, I'm going to make this better. He's like, oh, you think I just wield ice? No, I'm going to freeze people from the inside out. I love him so much.
Well, that's another thing. I think he could be. I know, protect him at all costs, because he could seriously just freeze the Venom from inside, right? They still have blood in them. Like,
he froze a wyvern at the end. It literally cracked when it hit the ground. If he dies in the next book, just bury me at that point. I will rage so hard. I thought he died in this book. I threw my Kindle. I threw my AirPod Maxes. Those are like $600 headphones. I chucked them. I was pissed.
You text me and go, I threw my Kindle at this point. Prepare. Because I was a couple chapters behind you, and then I was
then I didn't want to be like, oh, crisis averted. Because then I was like, well, I want her to feel what I felt.
No, but it was like one of those, the chapter ended. I go, oh my God, he just died. And then it's, he goes,
he's like, I hate sewing.
Hate sewing. Love him.
Oh my goodness, we are jumping ahead. But yeah, I just love him so much. He always was funny, but like, I don't know, like, I fucking love him.
Leveled up. She did such a good job with leveling up the characters. Good.
But I just love that he had like a basic one. And he was like, well, I'm not going to just settle for this. I'll hone it. And now we know they can make it stronger. They can make the signet better. So like I think the summoning, you haven't seen it in a century. So it's cool in that sense. I'm like, I don't know for me if I feel like summoning is like top 6. But if she can hone that and like summon people from like the other side of the country, maybe
stab them.
Like she's finally learning how to go through walls. Like if she could literally like take someone who's like in the Isle Kingdoms and like summon them to Navarre.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to distance wielding.
Yeah, except she doesn't have to
go and grab them. Right.
I don't know. I think that could be cool, but we'll have to see what happens with her.
But I don't think she's making it. I think she's going to be the one that we love that's going to die in book 4 because
because someone said that Rebecca said Riddick is safe. So I'm taking
I really hope that's true.
I swear to God, if in 2 years I read Riddick dies, I will never recover.
No, you know what? It's going to be a fucking repeat of, it's an editing error, Liam.
It was an editing error. He's
ice.
He's coming back. He's going to be in the hallucination next, and it's the only thing we'll get from him. I just can't. Other important things we learn literally just in this first chunk.
There's so much detail.
We learned so much about the venom and things we thought we knew, like throw it out the window. What you thought you knew, ha ha ha. Rebecca laughed at us. So we find out like they have signets. I can't remember what part of the book this is, but we find out they have signets. Xaden also tells Violet, hey, I can sense the other venom. What? And then love how she was just like keeping Jack Barlow alive, like feeding him like her power so she could just get information from him. I loved it. And then I think it's either Jack, we get a little bit more from Jack, and then Xaden gives her a little bit more. And basically they tell us like, well, we can only sense initiates and ASIMs. We cannot sense a sage or a maven. So like people could be walking around here being sages and mavens and we'd have no clue, but they would know we are because we are initiates.
And that's a whole piece I have to talk about. All we know is the fact that they have the red veins coming out of their eyes, and they sound terrifying in terms of what they would look like. But how the hell are they able to be around and you would have no idea that they're there?
Yeah, like I thought those veins were there 24/7. But
beauty filter? What are you doing?
Maybe they they do like a glamour, like going back to Akatar. I don't know.
I have no idea, because there has to be something, because that would make so much more sense why there's probably people inside that we don't know of that are higher than just the first 2 levels. Yeah. Initiates and ASIM. There has to be a reason.
I think there's a good amount of people that are sages, because Xaden's an initiate. I hate saying that word, an initiate, for like almost the whole book. And then at the end when he goes fucking crazy with the shadows, he now has become an ASIM. So like it really, total, I think he channeled like 5 times. Yeah. It was less than 10 and he already is at ASIM level. So like how quick do you go from ASIM to a sage?
Yeah. Is it like every 5 you get a new round?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
You're now a sage.
But this little piece of information about sensing the venom, again, I'm always looking for a way to prove someone is venom. So like Colonel Atos becoming the fucking general at Basgiath, kill me.
Pissed me off.
I hated this man so much. I never liked him, but he took it to the next level. But now I'm thinking, I love to think that Daddy Atos is venom. I'm just like convinced he is. He was in like cahoots with Varish. Like they have to be. Xaden at this point is like one of the most powerful riders, like graduated riders that they have. They literally put him on the front lines in Iron Flame right after graduating. He doesn't go to a mid post. He goes right to the front lines. Yeah. Why do they take him off the front lines to have him come be Professor Zaddy at Basgiath, just training everyone on like how to fight Signet versus Signet? Yeah. Like, wouldn't you logically, you're in this war, the Venom they're taking down cities, they're attacking the front lines. why would you not have your most powerful person on the front lines? Why would you have them at your school? Oh, unless people that are at your school are sages and mavens and whatever else. They've sensed he turned venom and they want to keep an eye on him
Yeah,
and
and they
take him
don't
in.
want him to help. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And who just happens to come back to Basgaiath as the general, Colonel Atos. So he's Venom. I rest my case.
Yeah. And he super, super hates the fact that he has found ways to get in with the cadets and everything. But he does not like the fact that he's able to still talk to them. Because I think that he's afraid that there could be information that he's giving.
Oh, yeah. And he's big on like the codex and the code of conduct. Like, you can't be in a relationship with a student. You can't talk to Violet. So I think they were trying to break up his bond with Violet. But like, what other reason would they have to take him off the front lines? I mean, maybe it said it and I'll need to do a reread, but like, why? He's your most powerful tool. Why are you taking him off the front lines? Just have him come back and forth like they were doing in Iron Flame. They didn't seem to have an issue with it then.
I don't know how, because I'm questioning too, and forgive me if I'm going off on a tangent, but I can't remember. I think he had low-key channeled a bit and panicked and said, I need to be back within the wards, and I found a way. But how would it have gotten approved by Atos anyways?
Yeah.
Because doesn't he approve who's going to be a professor? It's kind of like in my head, Dumbledore is just approving.
Yeah, he does approve.
You know, it got, right. So, of course, like, it's not like he denies him and says, oh, no, you need to keep going fighting and good luck. To your point, I think he wants him back. But
yeah, he channeled a little while they were getting it on.
I literally wrote
those little
that in
pinpricks in the headboard.
Yeah.
Like 6% into the book. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
This is how it's going to go. No. I was totally okay with it. There's something there that we're not getting. And the fact that he's back is important because he went away. You know, we had Varish for all of most of Iron Flame, at least the part 1. So
yeah. And
he's
I
back
love
for a reason.
That the only reason why he's back is because of the king, because he like kisses the king's ass. No one else wanted him back. The king was like, yeah, sure, you can have it. I hate him. We also still don't know what his signet is.
I know. I think it's going to be something
selfishly
powerful.
Okay, that's what I think too. It's going to be something powerful. But it can't be too powerful because he was Lilith's 8, so he can't have anything more powerful than her, or like that would have been a weird dynamic. But selfishly, I want him to have like the most basic shit. Like, it's like something so unimpressive, just run of the mill. That's what I want him to have because I hate him so much.
I'm with you. I'm hoping it skipped and went to Dane. No, let's just say that right now. Never would I ever expect to have said that fucking sentence in my life of reading these books. But all I was hoping is that it skipped Daddy Atos and went to Dane because at least Dane's kind of, going for the good side.
Honestly, maybe that was the elephant in the room we should have addressed off the top. Like, liking Dane? Here I was on the last episode, like, Rebecca's trying to give him a redemption arc. Nothing's going to make me redeem him in my eyes. You kind of were like, I could see it. There's a I was like, there's no potential. Like, no. I have so much willpower. I'm going to hate this man. Why'd I like him? I think it's because he was, like, low-key kind of useless, and that, like, made me happy. But he didn't do anything egregious. And all of my hatred has now transferred to his father.
Yeah, and I just love how Ark just plays with him so much, and how I didn't want to make Dane feel like he was useless here, but he is. So I'm just gonna step in anyways.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, maybe that's why, because I was just like laughing at him more. It wasn't like, I can't hate you. Like, you're the butt of the joke.
Yeah, exactly.
But perfect. I hate his dad, and I hate that he is in power at Basgaiath. Yeah. I hate that he was in where her parents used to live. I hate it. I hate the whole thing.
Yep. I'm with you.
What else did we see in this beginning? We meet Theophany, who I just kept calling Theo until I watched some videos on how to say her name.
Yeah.
I low-key loved her as a character. Sad she died at the end.
I really was hoping that there was more from her, that there was going to be not a final battle in like book 4, but I was really hoping that it was going to be expanded a bit more instead of just a surprise, I'm here again, okay, now I'm gone, oh wait, now you're finally going to end me in this one. I was really hoping it went longer just because she's super cool. I know she's bad, but I really liked her. It
was such a good character because the way Rebecca made a clown out of all of us, like, I am, I think I may have texted you this, I'm reading the book and I'm like, Theophany is Violet from the future. Like, Violet is time traveling. She has turned Venom and she's coming back to like tell herself,
destroy. Yeah,
you need to turn. She's trying to help her. This is Violet, like, because she knew everything they were doing. Also, the way it was set up, like, we were made to believe she was a lightning wielder, like Violet. She knew every single place the crew was going to go. Like, she left that note for them when they got the thing that you just said the name for.
Yeah,
little amulet thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this has to be Violet.
Yeah.
That whole thing of her being the high priestess and being dedicated, and that's why she has silver hair, like that whole, I don't think anyone saw that coming. Such a good
I
twist.
definitely did not. Did
But I
not,
loved
and I
Theophany
loved it.
because she
Yeah.
was such a cryptic bitch, but she knew everywhere they go. They're like, how does she know? And yeah, how does she know? We
I
didn't get that
loved it
answered.
so much. I don't know. There must have been some path that was preached to her before she turned Venom, and then she just said, "All right, fuck off. I'm gonna be, a
Yeah.
badass."
I'm like,
now."
how did she know? Like, oh, Violet and crew are going to be at this temple on like May 3rd. I
Yeah.
should be there.
Yeah,
Should
and
be there
she
on the
also
2nd to leave a
doesn't.
note.
And is it just me? Because I thought if you were fully dedicated, your hair went full gray. So did she also not get fully dedicated? But she had the imprint of the
I thought she did have full gray hair.
Okay, I
I
thought
think
she
her
just
hair
had
was full
part
silver.
gray. Okay, maybe it was just in the glimpse that I had pictured that
Full
she
silver.
had
There
part.
is
Okay.
one person who has the same thing as Violet. It's like a young
Okay.
kid she sees on the aisles. But yeah, she had, and like,
All right, I'm getting
love
mixed
that
up.
she just gets taken out by a rock.
I know.
It's giving pork
RX,
bucks.
use this.
I love it though. But like, what a
Yeah.
wild thing. I loved her. I loved this like battle she has with Berwin where she's like,
So
don't go
good.
for him, like come for me. I'm
Yeah.
gonna teach you the ways. You need to be on my team. The Fantasy Fangirls said it perfectly. I think it was in their recap episode or their like reactions episode. They're like, it literally is giving the voice. I turned my chair, come on my team, come on my Venom team. I was dying. I was like, that is exactly what it was giving.
It's also really interesting because we learn more about the Venom kind of having their family structure and everything. And
Yeah.
it does seem like once a sage or a maven chooses a bunch of people,
You're not
it's
leaving.
You're not leaving, and you also can't hang out with these people. Like,
Yeah.
you don't go here. You know what I mean?
You can't sit with us.
Yeah, it's very Malfoy of, oh, sorry, you can't hang out with them,
It's
mudbloods.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, loved Theophany. And this is like where we first like meet her. And she's trying to save Jack Barlow, which is he one of hers? I thought him and Xaden were like in the same line. I don't know.
I think he is part of Berwin's family, and I think he has information that she needed to do something.
Maybe. Yeah. And then, we see her like wielding her lightning at Samara or wherever they were, the town off of Samara. And I
Total badass.
freaking loved her. Also would like to point out we are still just in the first 12 chapters. We also get a name for Andarna. She is an Irid scorpion tail.
Yeah.
Loved that. I don't know why none of us guessed iridescent.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wait, that just clicked.
Okay, some people are still figuring it out. It's fine. It's fine. We literally had in our table pearlescent. Like, where did I pull that from? Pearlescent.
I have no idea. Oh my God.
It was so funny, but it was nice to get like an actual name for like her den, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with the epigraph for chapter 11 really just talks about how nature requires a balance for the magic. And it just became like a really big theme throughout the book of like everything needs to be done in balance. We see it with Lynx. Nature knows. Xaden went to the other side. Well, this good side needs a shadow wielder now. So now we're going to give someone else this power.
I know.
And even
I don't know how people didn't realize that and say there shouldn't be two around the same time. Or something.
That was really just like hush hush. It was like, he says shadow and never brought up again.
Never. Nope.
But then Theophany being like, I'm the Venom answer to your mother. So
that
now
nuts.
Does nature know? Like, hey, Lilith got killed the last book. Get me another storm wielder.
That's where people were wondering if Sloane's getting that. And that
would be rough though, because then she probably feels so guilty. Like, I literally just sucked this out of your mom.
Yeah, like I legit got it as my second signet. I killed off your mother and just
to get it.
Got it. Reincarnated as your mother.
Oh my God. I also saw people thinking like maybe she'll get one of Liam's signets. And I was like, oh, I don't like that.
No. I mean, cute in terms of family stuff. But at the same time, I think she needs something completely different. Give me something new. Yeah. There's probably a variety.
Yeah, but the whole like balance thing really was important in this, which totally makes sense.
Important.
But like none of us thought of that when like balance had been brought up in earlier books because we just thought Venom had lesser magic. We didn't know that they were out here wielding storms and like distance wielding potentially.
Yeah.
So that adds.
There's the 3. Mm-hmm.
That adds way more to the dynamic.
So much.
Now, I have another big theory.
All right.
Just go with me here.
Okay.
And you can totally be like, you need to stop drinking the Kool-Aid and stop thinking Like everything's an Easter egg. Okay, I have to like frame this up correctly.
Oh boy.
Auric. I think I've already told you this a little bit, but Auric, precognition. Okay, so he can see the future. We don't know how far in the future he can see. Now, he does say to Violet at the end, you need to go protect the temple. Was it because he saw as far as like they need the rock from that temple to then kill Theophany? Or did he see even further like, no, you need the rock to kill Theophany and you need the debt that the high priestess is going to owe you to then get married to Xaden to set this other plan in motion. So we don't know how far into the future he can see.
Right.
So my theory is Xaden can sense intentions and also their venonness kind of like heightens their things.
Yeah.
So I think he sensed when Auric manifested his signet because, you know, the whole beginning of Onyx Storm, they're talking about like Auric still hasn't manifested. Like, this is dangerous. You know,
It's
you can
a
like
huge
explode.
Yeah.
And they're all concerned, which people think he manifested in Iron Flame. So I will need to do a reread and see if there's any clues to that.
Yeah.
I think Xaden knew. Auric either came to him or Xaden went to Auric, something. Somehow the two of them are in cahoots with each other. And they're like cooking up this plan that gets put into place at the end of the book where Xaden goes crazy with the shadows, marries Violet, and there's like these 12 hours missing. Because when he talks to Sigale, he's just like, oh, do you forsake me? And there's no conversation between the two of them. Next thing you know, they just like fly off. He was like, you just need to convince Taryn. And they fly off. She knew of whatever the plan was that was happening. So that wasn't something that Xaden thought of on the spot. This is something that he had been working on. So I think he was working on it with Auric. Here's my 2 reasons why. Epigraph for chapter 12 says, you might be angry when you realize I didn't wake you to say goodbye, but it's only because I no longer fully trust my ability to walk away. Recovered correspondence of His Grace Lieutenant Xaden Ryerson, 16th Duke of Tyrrendor, to Cadet Violet Sorrengail. We learn in Iron Flame that he likes to write her letters. Like that's like how they communicate back and forth. And so I think, because this is like written when he was still the Duke and she's still a cadet. At the end, she's now the Duchess. I think he started working on this plan with Auric. He knew, like, as much as she wants to cure me, and he said it to her throughout the whole thing, like, I will give it my all, but I don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah.
I think he knew this was coming. He started writing her letters that she will then be able to find in book 4 to help her piece together the memories that she's missing from Imogen that she asked Imogen to erase. So I think this letter that it's referencing in chapter 12 is like written at that time, but she's not going to read it until later. And in the part where I forget what the isle is that they're on, but the part where the very first isle they go to is at Deverelli when they have to rescue Halden from the king who wants to keep him.
Don't even get me started on him.
Xaden goes in and he was like, yeah, like I really don't want to have to be here. I'm trying to be diplomatic, but I really need to take him back because I have complicated loyalty with someone back home. No one likes Halden. No one would have gave a fuck if Halden did not come back.
Yeah.
Except for Auric, because Auric does not want to have to sit on the throne. And so I'm
it's not
thinking
his thing.
that was and also in Iron Flame, Auric and Xaden don't really like each other. Now, the wrench in this plan this theory could be, he has complicated loyalty because Auric has joined the revolution. He came to Arisha. He's been helping them out, like get into the royal library thing. So it could be that. Or it could be, hey, I need to make sure his brother makes it back alive because this man is helping me plan my future so that Violet is safe, Tyrrendor is safe, and the revolution can continue on because I know I now need to remove myself because I'm going to be Venom and I can't help. That's my theory. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it has legs?
It's like
also because like he has such a fucking powerful signet, Auric, and he like barely uses it. There's only 2 times he uses it to move Lynx out of the way, or 3 times. Move Lynx out of the way, switch the spot, and take Halden's spot on the trip, and then the rock thing.
Yeah,
he has to be more important than that.
He has to be. I mean, why would we get the king's son involved except for just the fact that I'm a royal and whatever, and I can talk on these islands and stuff like that?
And sorry, I said it took a while to like set that whole thing up, but like I had to connect the path that I walked through.
It's okay.
But like you can read it to filth if you don't think it's a good theory. I'm just like, I'm trying to put more importance on him.
No, I think it could be a huge theory, and I think it would be interesting to see if this is the path that it goes, because even if it isn't 100% accurate in terms of every step that you laid out there is right, but I think that there's a lot to it because the whole entire book, it was even in Iron Flame, that Xaden is setting Violet up for learning things. Like we were talking about the runes earlier. He gives her the book and she goes, oh, is that why you gave it to me so that I could learn it ahead of time? Yes, because it's going to be important. He doesn't withhold information because she obviously doesn't know what to ask him, but in a way he's withholding information. And I think he's trying to give her things as it slowly goes. That way she can get more powerful instead of try to rush to the ending. Because I think, like we see in everything, she always will protect him and try to save him. I think he's a reason to live, basically. I know she loves her people and stuff, but he's the primary reason. So I think it has backing information as the whole series onto what it could be. And there has to be a reason why not only does Violet ask Imogen to remove her memory for those 12 hours, but Arik has to know why. And I feel like he's important into why she even also had it removed too. He must have known of, you can't know this, you need to find it out as we go because things are going to happen. And we get that snippet at the end, and I know I'm jumping, but Xaden talks about that he needs Berwin alive because he knows something and he needs information. There's something he is working at more, because I mean he does try to get Brennan to save him, all of that stuff. Like, they're laying the groundwork down for what's going to happen. And I think those two definitely are in cahoots, like you said. And it's pretty
replay the
powerful.
clip in 2 years. If it comes true,
Yeah.
you heard it here first.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it.
I fully support it. I'm here for it.
I'm here for it. Other big moment from this first chunk of the book is we need to give kudos to Meg, because marked ones, second signets, you were on it.
I don't know how. I think when I text you, I said, I can leave happy now. I can die happy.
Oh my God. And
I was somehow right.
At that point, I was ahead of you, because then we got to a point where like you were ahead of me for some of it. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God, I cannot wait till she reads this chapter, because I'm like, she's going to lose her mind, because everyone was like, it was an editing error. And you were like, I don't think so. Like, I think they have two signets. And then we talked about it on the last episode. There's proof on the internet. And you were like, they have two relics on them, two signets. And even I think you said in it, like, I think their dragons are giving them stuff to fight back. So like, you got it on all points.
Literally, they say that the dragons are choosing them because they know they can be loyal to the actual cause and continue what their parents did. Oh my God. It just, I literally so happy that was right. And I know that anything else I say is probably going to be incorrect because I had my moment. And that's it.
That was the best part of reading the book, when like theories we had came true, because there's another big one that we got right. And I was like, damn, we are good.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I feel
we're gonna get
none
moment. Right in the next book, but in this one we had it. That one was a big one, and I was so glad, because everyone was like, it was an editing error. I'm like, that's a big editing error.
I'm sorry, you do not put something in there that important, because everything Rebecca has said, even about Violet's second signet, was it's one line in the book. Yeah, no. Don't tell me that it's an editing error. You know that she can't accurately tell you yes or no that they have two signets, because that literally would ruin the entire book. So she's, of course, going to, not give information, which, respect, she can't do that. But come on. The amount of little things we've been getting that are important, it's one fucking paragraph here and there in the first book that's super important to the rest of it.
Yeah. Also, we read the book like months after it had been out, so like if it was an editing error, it would have already been fixed by the time we had gotten to it.
Right.
Like, we didn't get that book right when it came out, so
no,
I loved that for you, and that was so exciting. And it's so interesting to see like how many of them, because it is based off the dragon, and they said, did they do it, I had the quote, like, was it to give you a better chance of survival? And then I forget who's saying this quote, but then they were like, if you wax sentimental, more like building their own army. So it's like the dragons that want to fight back, which you were right on the nose about that. So not all of the marked ones will have a second signet, but the ones that have dragons that want to fight. So I think Sloane, because her dragon was fine to go to Arisha, I think she'll have one. It's so exciting.
The ones who stayed back, who might have been, don't blame me for what my parents did type thing, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they're going to, they probably bonded with dragons who are just, nope, we want to stay here. We want to protect our group, and that's all we care about.
Yeah. So now let's move into probably the greatest part. Professor Xaden. at Bad Guy. Like, so we already talked about like how we think it's a little suspicious he was there.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, we learned that they have failed our girl Jacinia. Markham said, nope, he created tests that he knew she was going to fail, so she could not go down. I still forget the name, Adept, I think, that like
Adept,
special
yeah.
scribe path. I honestly think they just like were making her pay for going to Orisha and helping them.
Yeah.
And he knew, like, I think you had said it, like, he knows he's never going to be able to turn her or like mold her into what he wants.
Yeah.
That's why this is time.
He wants people in with what he can control, and there's no controlling her because she is very much in a, nope, I follow the information, and this information that you've been giving me is incorrect. I'm going to follow what's right. So I'm okay with her not being on that path because I know you were suspicious that they were, you know, going more Venom type vibe.
I was pissed about that.
We still have 2 books.
It still could happen. I still, you know,
Yeah.
still potential. We did not
Yeah.
get a lot of scribe quadrant. Could I speak the English language? So it still could be a Venom factory down there. Who knows? But we didn't get any indication in this book that that is happening. But, you know, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
It was really just Jacinia. And she wasn't in it too much, which she served her purpose. There wasn't really a place for her in anything else, but I missed her.
Yeah.
The Isle Kingdoms, we found out that they like supported the second Croveland uprising. Have to be honest, that I will need to look for in a reread. I still don't really understand that whole uprising. I don't know if you do. I can shed some light. I just put in big red things. Need to look into this.
I'm going to admit, this is probably the part that I actually lost certain information. Yeah. Because the beginning, I know people were confused on, but this part was actually more of where I focused on specific people. And that part, I think I rushed through with the first 2 books. That it was, this isn't going to be important. And then it does end up being very important. So I totally am with you. I'll need it on another reread and actually focus on that part. And I'll probably, you know, save quotes and everything. So I don't have too much on that one, but I know it's important.
I was like, I need to look into this. I understood like some of the other stuff that comes out later about it, but I need to like look into the whole thing. And we have Professor Zaddy, and I personally loved every second of it. When you get to Zodiac Academy, there is like a professor-student relationship that is, and it was giving me Zodiac Academy vibes. It did limit our smutty scenes because they could not be seen fraternizing with each other. Yeah. But I loved it. How he was just whipping all their asses in the fights. I was like, oh.
What was it? Signet sparring or something? Yeah, something like that. I loved it. That was something I did not have on my bingo card for this entire fucking series. And it was so good that this got brought up. I love the fact that he even created the dome that they pretty much were stuck in. And it was a, you know,
and
you'll figure it out.
Training her how to kill him.
I know. That part was the biggest thing. I literally have it in my notes, is she is the only one capable of killing him. Is the fact that she can find him through using his voice and everything within the shadows. And obviously that's going to be important down the line.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, literally. But I think my favorite comment when I read it, I literally put it in my notes here. I said, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. He is Zaddy. Like, I just was so
love it.
Hyped.
Why didn't we never have any
more chapters? I could have had a whole book on just him being Zaddy. It would have been fine.
Oh my God. Also, though, like, yes, that definitely is foreshadowing, but like, I swear to God, you take Riddick for me, I'm gonna rage. You make Violet kill Xaden at the end of this book, I will never pick up another Rebecca Yarros book ever again.
They need to go down together if they're going down. They're yelling timber together.
Oh yeah, they could Romeo and Juliet this shit.
Yeah. Stab each other in the heart, disintegrate with
I'd be fine with that. We cannot have them separated. Like, I can't watch her move on with someone else. I can't. There's a couple other, like, little things happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump around.
Go for it.
They talk about Xaden's shadows being a lot stronger, which I think has to do with his venom, but Violet says signets can grow. Yeah. So I think that was setting it up for then Riddick being like, hey, look, you thought I could just wield ice. I can actually freeze things from the inside out.
Here's an orange.
So I do think, going back to like our earlier conversation, we're going to see the squad all hone their skills more and become more dangerous. Yeah. So like Ree could up her thing.
Yeah.
Another part that like completely just in the first read, chapter 16, Violet says, my mother was never temple-minded, which is odd considering you'd think she'd favor Dune, and I preferred to spend what worship time I had in Amari's temple. Like, how did we not know that was coming? I genuinely do not think that Lilith knew that her father was having her dedicated, because just to jump ahead, when they do get to that isle, like they've never seen dragons before. Lilith would have traveled there by dragon. So I don't think she was with him, but like also like where the fuck was she all those months? Because Brennan and Mira were left with the dad's mom. So like where was she?
I don't know either. And the fact that I think there's even a correspondence at the end in one of the epigraphs that says she's never going to forgive you, or at least I hope that she will at the end of the day, is I think that she found out after it was failed, and he kind of came back from his research through all of the isles, because he has a bunch of notes that we find out through his research that, you know, he was able to get details, which helps her out in each of the isles as well. But I don't know. I think we're going to get more from their grandmother.
Oh, I think we're going to meet her in the... Yeah, that'll be fun.
We have to. I mean, she seems like
Mira's
such an
already met
interesting
her.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, again, I think is to your point of the fact that where did, you know, Mama Zora and Galen go? I have no idea.
Yeah.
There was something on why those two kids were left with the grandmother. Don't know.
Yeah. We also don't really know why they had her dedicated. Was it to fix whatever illness she had because of the fever the mom had? There's still questions around it.
I know, because it was either that way or it was the potential that was she going to turn Venom, so they wanted to dedicate her so that she didn't or whatever. But like we learned with Theophany, that she can gladly still
you can still become
Venom
yeah.
after. So I don't really know what the father was trying to fix, but I'm curious if we're going to get more of his research. Because we only touched on some of it. So is there going to be pieces in his research that
I think so.
Why?
I think it's going to be like their guiding map for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
I personally, because there's six books or 7 books, I think, that now she has to go through with her dad. So, and we didn't even get to all the isles.
No,
just they left early.
They kind of pieced out, defeated.
Yeah, after Traeger, rip. We'll get to it. There's 2 more big things in this section that I have to touch on before we get to like Quest Squad building.
Quest Squad. Ugh.
Living for jealous Zayden in this book. Halden, such a baby bitch boy. Oh my god, I hated him. And when Violet...
Mick, I put him, we induct you into the baby bitch boy club. I literally put that in the notes because full-blown baby bitch boy.
This is a thing Meg and I have started since college. Anyone who just gives this energy, we're like baby bitch boys, the BBBs. And there's so many people in this club. He just gave it, and oh my god, when Violet was like, I believe you love professors. I saw one riding you. I think she had red hair. Yeah. Like, I fucking loved it. And then when she came in and she just did like the most badass move, I was like, that's my girl. Oh, Zayden being so jealous. Oh.
Why I enjoyed him as a professor, and I think I just put the two together, but the fact that he was jealous upped him to a whole nother level. Perfection.
And Halden is such a fucking douche. Like,
I hate him.
Oh my god, he gives frat boy energy.
He is so easy to hate, and all I keep picturing are those weird pictures people post on social media of him just like riding in the basket.
Him in the basket is the best thing that's ever happened. The Isle Kingdoms is the best part I had in this whole book, because there's so many great little things that happen.
So good.
Oh my god, I can't wait till we get to that part. I can't. So besides jealous Zayden, we also have the start of the Dane redemption tour.
Yes, we do.
Where he is needed to go rescue the research that like sets all this in motion, and he's the only one that can go because there's like wards, I think, and so he has to cross.
Family can get in,
and he's like, you have to trust me. No one wants to trust him, and he comes through for the group.
Can we just talk about the fact that felt very anticlimactic a bit? I expected
I wanted him to be caught or something, get in the interrogation chamber.
Right, but I can understand why it was so anticlimactic, because in reality,
we had more things to get to.
Was fucking insane.
She's like, we just need the research so we can just get going.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
He can't start the next chapter without it. But this is the start of the Dane redemption tour, which thank God we needed him to come in clutch somehow, because he thinks he's coming in clutch the rest of the book, but he's not. Also, we do. Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you go.
I was just going to say, we do get a tease of Naolan and Brennan's romance at this point, because they need that 6-letter password, and they talk about like who was Brennan's first love, because it was like first love was the clue. And Naolan is 6 letters, and they didn't say his name, but they did say he was dating someone who was a few years older than him and was a writer.
Which I feel like that's going to be an interesting part, because there's something that ties the two together.
I thought we were going to this book.
I I thought so too, but I guess we can't get everything that
Definitely
we were
next book,
asking
I think.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
All right,
next
but what
book.
did I cut you off from saying?
No, you're good. I was also going to say this is not only the start of the arc for Dane, but this is also when him and Sloane have their definitely off-page
Something's
angst,
happening.
tension.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The eyes on me part, I'm like, who is this person?
People were like,
this is Dane?
Yeah, people were like, Daddy? I was like, well,
He
no,
was
I'm not
2
ready
seconds.
to go there.
No, he was 2 seconds away from being in the Baby Bitch Boy Club, and he actually came back. I was like, eyes on me. Maybe we take you a step back. I don't think you need to be in it.
Yeah, I'm not ready
I'm not
to get
a fan
on, like,
of his.
I'm not ready to get on the Daddy Dane train, but like he can be like,
No.
Dane.
Dane. Instead of Dane.
Dane, I hate you.
Dane.
It's more neutral now.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Dane, he's here.
Also, another off-page thing, not really off-page, but like a thing that starts brewing in this section is Mira and Drake. Like, definitely gonna be a thing.
I love them.
Oh yeah,
Love them.
and
the
Riddick
whole
being like,
quest
it's
squad,
like traveling with my parents.
Again, I feel like the Isles is probably my favorite part to go over in this
I can't
entire
wait to get to that.
series.
No,
Yeah.
it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
But we do have to do justice for this one part. We have Professor Grady, who puts together the worst quest squad ever.
Terrible.
Like, they're like, this is what he's known for. He put people who had like no skills together.
Yeah.
And I'm worried, like, was that intentional? Like, to have them fail?
I think so. I think he purposely put people that he knew could make sure that Xaden and Violet weren't doing anything sus. And it was because obviously they have to fly together because Sigale and Taryn and all that stuff, you know, which repeat. But
and then Darna with all of her demands, I loved it.
Love her. The whole book, love her.
She's too much.
So good. But I really think that he did it just so that it was either they didn't do their mission, so I feel like he's suspicious, and I also think too he just could care less about Violet being this golden person that everyone's like, you're gonna be the reason why we win this war, blah blah blah. Like, I really don't think he is a fan of any of the cadets and just thinks that the adults should handle it. So
yeah, well, it sucks for him because they get to the mission and he set up a terrible team and he dies with Aura, who, thank God, was not mad about either of them. She could not follow basic commands. They were like, just do not wield. If you wield, you're going to mess up the whole thing. She couldn't hold back.
Yeah. The anxiety and everything.
But yeah, Rip Grady and Aura, we don't miss you.
Yeah. Don't care.
But we do have a really great Riddick moment in this section. It's not my favorite one. We'll get to my favorite one for him, but where he's offering... or he's kind of not offering. He's telling Violet, because now Violet gets to put together her own squad, which is what they wanted to do from the beginning. And he basically saying, like, I'm going to come with you. Like, you need someone to protect you. Fucking protect this man at all costs. Top tier. And this quote, perfection, page 173, if anyone wants to reference. But he says, I'm just as good of a fighter as any of you. And while you've been focused on rehab, and Rhiannon is chasing... is that how you say her name? Rhiannon? Yeah, I'm gonna say Henry is chasing first years to keep them in line. I've been the one reading every fucking book Jacinia shoves at me and spending extra hours training. It really pisses me off when you guys act like my sense of humor somehow lessens my ability to show up for our squad. And I'm like, yes, Riddick, yes, you're not just the class clown.
I love it because if you really think about it, the first two books, it was very much Rhi is an important person. She's Violet's best friend, like the two of them, you know, whatever. Then Sawyer is really important and all the stuff in him and Jasenia. And they kind of just leave Riddick by himself, you know, skipping along of like, haha, I'm great. But seriously, everyone underestimated him. And I think that's where he's gonna be super powerful, is like, stop putting me to the side.
Yeah, and we see that. Like, he learns how to freeze things from the inside out. I love him so much. Yeah. He was perfection in this book. So and also, like, we needed someone to step up because Sawyer is MIA. Sawyer is, like, learning to live without a limb.
Yeah.
And, like, how to, like...
he's still a writer, but...
Yeah, he's like, should I retire? I haven't graduated. Should I retire? Right. Or should I get a prosthetic and learn how to, like, get back on my dragon? So he's going through it. And so, like, Riddick knew. He was like, I have to step up. I'm the only one who can do it. I'm the man for the job. Let me in. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, now we can move to the section that, like, everyone, unless you had anything else from that section. I'm over here just, like, running the show. And
No, I kid you not. Most of mine were just Halden sucks. I had to remove so many of those comments because that whole section was just I hate Halden. I went by chapter when we first read it, and every single chapter was just I hate Halden. I really don't like this guy. I love the jealousy from Xaden, but I really don't like this guy. Yeah. And just that was it. So
that's good. We can start off the Isle section. It's chapters 21 to 43 for anyone following along in the book. Halden being carried in a basket because he's not a rider. It is my favorite thing. And when they landed to like get water, and they were trying to help him out of the basket.
He just trips out.
And he's in the basket with his guard. I just like, it's perfection. And it made me laugh reading it, but then I saw TikToks, fan art of him in a basket, like,
where's my sippy drink? Like, give me my juice box.
And he had to go with the griffins because the dragons wouldn't hold him.
Yeah. God, I love everything about how pathetic he is. It's like, this is why I inducted him into the BBB club, because it's just so perfect. He should be our logo for this club.
The basket was just, oh my God. I couldn't.
It's so good.
It was so good.
It's so good.
And then when he like doesn't go later and they're like, well, no one wants to carry your basket.
Right. We don't care for you.
I just like, Rebecca must have been laughing so hard when she wrote that. Like, how are we going to get hauled in here? Basket. Oh my goodness.
It was so good.
Now, I did skip the whole part where they like go to Karis. Did I say his name? To Karis's like house, and then they like leave from there to go.
Yeah.
You know, the whole chapter 25 stuff. I skipped it in my notes. Like chapter 25 was perfection.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. That was it.
I skipped that and I went right to the Isle. So
I did too. Okay. Because I thought those were more important in my opinion. Okay. Because each of them has their own reasoning.
Yeah. Really, he was just helping them travel to the island. So
exactly.
Weird that the Isles did not show up on the maps in the book, even though we were going there. Hopefully they're there for book 4, because it was really hard knowing what the actual names of them were, because they would like say the name quickly and then they would like talk about the capital city and then like the god. Mm-hmm. And I was like, which is it? So Isle 1 is Deverelli.
Yeah.
I'll let you take the floor on thoughts on Deverelli.
So this one is interesting because obviously this Halden is just a piece of shit again.
Causing trouble.
Wow, seems like a common theme here. We're not getting any better. But I thought it was really interesting because this is the first time, or I think the second time, that folks called the continent people Amaryllis. And Violet's just kind of questioning, what do you mean? We're Navarian, whatever. That's who we are. We just called ourselves the continent, and that's it. So we get that huge piece that I kept highlighting and said, all right, this has to come in play at some point. And then obviously we have it where they'll only talk to royal blood, which is why Halden is there in the first place. And I think this is the island that they specifically brought that piece from Samara to, not Samara, I'm sorry, from the one where they go to choose.
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
Citrine. That's what it is. Yeah. I had to go back in my notes. So this is kind of what they brought it for. So the whole part is to use this as a bargaining chip of how can we, create some type of thing that we can get an army. And that's the big reason why they're here. Second reason why, obviously, Violet's trying to look for some reason that, Xaden can be healed of being Venom. But I think the big part that stands out here is they're not supposed to have magic on the Isles. We know that Violet can somehow talk to Injarna and Taryn, but no one else can. They're all suffering. They feel, it kind of looks like they're in pain in the sense of with no magic around. One thing is Sigale was my questioning through all the Isles, was she just seems so much more off than the rest of them, and I was trying to figure out why. But a big part here is, and I didn't catch it on the first second, I had to ping you, was the orb that Violet keeps with her that had her power, Xaden uses to basically kill, 12 plus people, because they start getting attacked since Halden tried to, steal back belongings that he thought was his guard. He gets served her head for dessert, basically. It's like,
rip Anna.
Again,
no action in the basket on the way back. She dead.
She's dead.
You're by yourself. Like a panther.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just so interesting to me that we're not supposed to have magic. And then to your point that she's able to, Violet's still able to channel a bit. And it's such a big piece. And the other part here is Xaden's eyes change. So the whole thing that we talked about, Onyx Storm, I know when we did the prep episode, we were talking about what does Onyx Storm mean? And we find out a little bit that Xaden's eyes start shifting more. And I think they go amber at this point. They're not onyx anymore. So the storm has already started within him. That's really starting to engage the fact that he's going more and more venom than he was before. But that was the biggest part for me there. I mean, I didn't really give a crap that they were trying to get belongings back. I think it was just Xaden was still able to wield, obviously, because he used the orb and everything, not not even with asking, because I know he said he would never take power from her without, kind of obviously talking to her about it. But it's just, that was a huge piece and set up for the rest of it and how it was going to go down.
Yeah, and she forgives him pretty quickly about that. Like, oh, you took my thing,
Quickly.
cool. Just like get on Sigale and go back because we don't want anyone to see your eyes. A couple other things that I flagged that happened here. So, Xaden refers to Violet as his consort when they're like, who is this woman that you're bringing with? They're foreshadowing. They're getting married at the end.
Yep.
The marriage thing was really sprinkled throughout. So I don't know like why I was so caught off guard by that at the end. Also, like Halden is trying to get back items because he says that Navarre has been bartering services with Deverelli over the last century, even though people, like according to history, like there has not been communication with the Isle Kingdoms in like the last 200 years. So
Right.
what has the king been, like what services has the king been getting from Deverelli that he was giving these items to them? We don't get an answer for it, just something like to keep in the back of our minds as we move through the books. Violet also gifts the king part of Andarna's dragon like eggshell, so he has that now.
Yeah.
And then when they get there, they go to find that bookshop woman because that's where they get the other 6 books from her dad. And I just thought it was really funny that the bookshop woman thought that Violet and Dane ended up together because that's what her dad thought would happen. And like, you just know that that woman is the town gossip. Like, she's out here getting the tea. And she's the one who first says, like, I think she mentioned something about being dedicated.
Yeah, because she was super confused on I don't know what you mean by this or anything. And obviously we find out, a few aisles afterwards. But that was so entertaining to me because Xaden was being nice to Dane, which made everyone concerned the whole time as he was being so kind and all this stuff, and then realizes that the dad was like, oh no, they definitely got married. Everything. And then she's like, I'm back to hating Dane.
Yeah.
Dane sucks.
Yeah, we're all hating Dane. And then I just have like such random things. Some of them like they didn't really have on the aisle. So back to like the chapter 25 thing. Yes, it was like a very good chapter, but also I noted that Xaden says that he dreams about Violet. So potential foreshadowing for how they could communicate in book 4. Like we find out she's a dream walker. Is she going to go into Xaden's dreams and that's how they'll communicate when they're far apart from each other? Just a thought.
Especially because Berwyn's able to do it with them. So I think that's going to be important.
Yep. We also learned Sloane is refusing to train her Signet ever since training Lilith. Important. We have the second year who channels in the middle of class and is instantly killed by Carr.
Yep. Carr just really likes killing off kids.
But it's just like, why was that person able to turn venom in the middle of class so easily? So who else is doing that?
Exactly.
But then I wanted to bring this part up. So this, I don't know if this is connected to the Second Crovlin War. So if it is, then I guess we learned a little bit of it. But in chapter 23, the little epigraph says, the uprising suddenly failed overnight on December 13th, 433 AU. I have no clue what AU means. In what has been called the Midnight Massacre. The foreign troops disappeared and the rebels were killed in their beds by Paramish forces. It is not their disappearance that strikes the scholar as particularly vicious, but their obvious betrayal. There is a saying in Deverelli, the word is the blood. When they make a trade, broker a deal, it is considered law. I cannot help but wonder what part of the deal the Crovlin rebels did not uphold. Then later, when they're in a different isle, I think it's Umbriel, they say, I think Deverelli brokered a deal with Krovla and an unnamed isle that the isle would provide the army and Krovla would provide dragons. When they were unable to do so, the deal fell apart. The Midnight Massacre happened and Krovla remained a part of Poromil. So, at the end, there's 6 dragon eggs missing. Also, Garrick is missing. And I've been seeing people think that, like, Garrick distance wielded these eggs to the Isles to try and broker a deal, which I think this could be foreshadowing for, because they're talking about how they just want dragon eggs. That's all they'll do a deal for. So I think this is laying some groundwork for it. And clearly, like, it had come up before in the history.
I think so too. And I also question, now I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but you know how Halden was saying that he was trying to get back belongings to, and the fact that over the past 100 years, like, I'm really questioning if there were other things that they were trying to give them to make them happy, and it was not working, because
instead of dragons,
like you said, because they're not going to give up the dragons at all. I mean, they want them for themselves.
Yeah, and it could just be part of Xaden's bigger plan of, like, I need to marry Violet. We need to get the eggs. We can't get them all 12. Let's get them some eggs. See if we can get some more armies. I think he's trying to set them up for as much success while he had that little window of time before he's, like, too far gone. Just something that came up there. And then Halden is now banned from this isle. They rescue him, but he's banned.
I think everyone's okay with that. I don't think anyone's going to complain that he can't go.
So now they're back. They're now going to Unbriel, which is the location of Dune, that god. And Auric has now taken Halden's spot on the next mission. This is also when, like, Halden realizes that his brother is at Basgiath.
Yeah, which that was another thing that was interesting, because I knew at some point it was going to happen. And again, to your point about Auric having precog, and we find out way later, I think he knew his brother was going to find out, and that it was going to be okay for him to go to the Isles anyways. Because obviously, I mean, why else would he reveal himself? There was something.
Or maybe he saw there. Like, if Auric or if Halden goes to this isle, something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
So he was, like, changing fate or something. I don't know. But I'll let you read the notes for the isle.
Yeah. So this one, I think I at least had started in notes that the runes work off of the continent, and I kept putting in parentheses Amaryllis, because I figured, okay, let me start using the words that they're referencing this place. But this is where they start noticing certain runes working and not working, and I think that's why Mira had them, was to test them and figure out what was going on specifically, because I think that's going to, I think the rune, like we said earlier, I think they're going to be important, but I think because they'll go back to the Isles, there has to be something that they're going to try and extend maybe Mira's wards so that the dragons have power onto the Isles. I don't know. I know that obviously towards the end, like, she's pretty much almost dead, but then is fine, or at least we think she's fine. But I think she's going to be important to them being able to still use magic on the Isles, because there's no way that they can't. I mean, it ruins.
And some of them have magic. Them. So, like, how do some have it and some don't?
And so this is the Isles that, like, because we know it's with Dune, is we find out all about the dedication, or correction, enough of the dedication that we find out during this book. We know that, you know, it is good that they did not complete the dedication because her path's still not chosen for her. Theophany? Am I saying her name right? Theophany. Sorry.
Theo.
We know that we know that Theo said back in the beginning that their paths were too intertwined, and I think she has seen multiple paths for Violet and wanted her to choose the one to go with her, obviously, because she wants her to turn venom, all that stuff. So I think that they're trying to test her and figure it out. And then Violet starts seeing people with gray hair, panicking of, oh my God, is this where I'm from? Because I started questioning if she was adopted for some reason. Like, is she just from this area and maybe, you know, she was a gift or something?
Take this child.
Right, take this child and go have fun. But I had no idea. I was going crazy with ideas. But this is also where the 3 have to fight.
Oh, this was amazing.
So bring your strongest person.
5 people.
And at first everyone goes, oh, Xaden's got this, you know, we're good. He's going to be the most powerful. And I think they slice a part of him because it's like blood is the, you know, the reason why they're okay to go for the fight. And then Dane gets chose. And we're just like, okay, cool. Great. And then finally Violet gets chosen, and she ends up, which she doesn't know at the time, fighting the queen.
That was crazy to me. That
they let pick up on that.
Me either, but like that they let their queen just fight in these like deadly battles. Thank God Violet was like yield and she didn't just go for the kill shot.
I know, because do you just have someone in the background of, okay, you're the heir, so if she dies in 2 minutes, you're just going to have to take over? Are they training these kids from a young age?
I have no clue.
No idea. So that was interesting to me, was really just the fact that you took these three people, and of course they choose the, and I'm putting in air quotes, the love triangle crew. We know that Rebecca said there's not a love triangle, but the fact that those are the three that they choose to be the ones that have to fight, it's kind of like each of them had something that they had to prove.
And Dane and Xaden were getting their asses kicked.
Both badly. And Violet was just using her small, maneuvers and everything that Xaden had taught her, but the other two were just kind of taking a brute force thing and whatnot. Yeah. So my biggest thing was the fact that they're definitely looking for more information, similar to what you had just said when we found out about the epigraph and about Deverelli. So I feel like we haven't gotten enough from this isle, or if we don't ever go back to it, I think we're going to go to others that tell you more about Unreal, that give more detail. So that's kind of what I had in terms of just overall pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know what you had.
I had all the same things as you, and I had a few extra ones. So during the fight, there's lightning strikes. And everyone later, when they get back to like the campsite, is like, was that you? And Violet's like, no, it wasn't me. So I think this is like the first sign of, like, besides being able to talk to the dragons, that like she definitely did wield there, I think. It's never confirmed, but I think she did. This is also where we find out that Arik is fluent in all of these languages. And this was the only reason why Dane was invited on Quest Squad, was because he knew all the dead languages. And he was struggling to translate. And then Arik just comes in and he speaks fluently. And I just fucking loved that moment.
I loved it so
like,
much.
Dane, why are you here?
Yeah. Oh, he's useless now. We don't need him.
This is also when Mira lets Violet know that she went to go see her grandma that we had talked about. So like, just like we said, I think that will be important in books 4 and 5. And we have another reference to dragon eggs. At the end, they're like, well, we beat you. Come fight with us. And they say they will not fight with Navarre because they want dragons. And she said, perhaps a dozen eggs aren't such a bad price for saving the rest of them.
Yeah.
So again, dragon eggs. I don't know why I didn't think eggs would go missing at the end.
I don't know why either, because I just figured, oh, they're safe. No one's going to go get them. But who could go retrieve them is people that are okay to be over there in the first place.
Yep.
So, yeah, those two were the two isles that I think they specifically said multiple times that were looking for eggs, because the rest I don't think hinted at it. I think it was just those two.
Just those two. Yeah. So I don't know. They want to be in the fight, but they want the dragons. But I don't know why they would want. And they say that they want the eggs because they want them to be like malleable. But like the dragons are suffering so much being on these isles. Like even Xaden, like Violet says, like we could take Takaris up on his offer and we could just live at his house with our dragons. You wouldn't have to worry about being able to channel. And he was like, I would never do that. Sigale's in so much pain.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they want the dragons if they can't even live there. Like the conditions don't allow for it.
I don't know. My only thing is it just as extra protection? Because, I mean, they all claim to be, not super in terms of weapons usage, but every single one of them
had full armies.
Yeah, to the nines at that point. It's okay. But I just question if it's just a way to fight back against other dragon riders. I don't know.
And they love to call them fire breathers.
Yeah, but there's no way that they would be able to bond either if they can't talk.
Yeah, and the dragons would be like at like half their capacity because they wouldn't be able to channel magic for any of their extra powers. So I don't know. It just felt like really random. It's weird. I'm sure we'll find out the reason. Yeah. There's a reason for everything.
There has to be.
Then we go to our third Isle Kingdom, which is Hedotus. I think is how you say it. And this is where we meet Xaden's mom.
Xaden's mom.
So we got that right. We did think that we were going to meet her. And I do think we said Isle Kingdom. So check for us.
Yeah.
Again, I will give you the floor because you have really good, like, concise notes on the Isles.
Okay. So I love the fact, I think his mom's going to be a huge piece in the future. And that was actually my biggest note of this entire section was this is not the only time that we're seeing her. There has to be a reason. I mean, she's trying to get in good graces and, oh my God, you're my first kid, blah, 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 all of this stuff. And
she needs an award for acting.
Oh my God, yeah.
I knew we were going to meet her. I did not realize she was going to be a raging fucking bitch.
Neither did I.
I thought she was going to be like so loving. Like, I thought she like got taken away from him and she was going to be like, oh my God. The way she put on the performance of a lifetime being like, Xaden, is that you? I had no clue you were coming. And then at the end, Violet's like, this bitch has been storing chocolate for weeks.
Yeah. And I have to ask, is it Aaron Mint or Aaron Mint that
Arrynment, I think.
Aaron Mint? Yeah. That Violet ends up using as like a back weapon towards her.
Yeah.
I'm jumping ahead in terms of points, but I just like fucking
I don't know
love
how to feel
this.
about her.
I don't know either.
Zayden
I
fucking hates her,
I think there's more to
which
why
is
she left.
totally understandable.
But also, now this is my thing. They can't use their powers. So can Zayden not read intentions while they're on the Isles?
Yeah,
because
can't.
I don't think he can. So what's interesting is he can't actually read anything his mom is thinking or be able to understand what's going on.
He would have seen the intention to poison them.
Right. Well,
Yep.
actually, yeah.
So
Because she didn't know about the cake fully, right?
Yeah, but he probably would have been able to read
Yeah.
the king's intentions on that.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't use his powers.
Yeah.
He would have shadowed out of there. Like,
they would have all been dead. He would have
Yeah.
been like, please hold. I'm using the orb again. I'm sorry. we're having a bad aisle here. This is it. I mean, it was crazy.
Best Actress award goes to Talia, Zayden's mama.
100%. I thought it was interesting too that they gave her 2 kids as well. And we find out that that's an important piece because when they say, oh, well, we really want you to come to dinner. We want Zayden to be there. Really trying to lay it
Violet
in,
is so
lay it on
smart.
thing.
If I was in a murder mystery game, I'd want her on my team.
Escape rooms, everything.
Oh my God, yeah. She'd crush it.
There's no way. Yeah, I would just be there to observe. I'd be the hype woman behind her saying, you've got this. You've got this, sweetie.
You're doing good,
You're
sweetie.
doing great, sweetie. Yeah.
You need water.
Yeah.
A
Do you need me to
snack.
pass this sweat off your face? Like, I'm
She's
there
so
for
good
you.
at it, picking up the little
So
clues. I'm like,
good.
I missed all of this.
Good. I missed
I
everything.
was so confused. I was like, why is she having Andorna follow these children?
Right, because at first, like, you have a mission to do. Go be here and be
No,
good
like,
at
what's
your
she doing?
job. Yeah, I just thought it was just all right, collateral in a different way. I didn't expect it to be that it was the kids and that they were going to use the poison. But as we find out through the diplomatic dinner, that Zayden pretty much says that he will only ever marry Violet because she's the only woman that he loves, no matter if it meant producing an heir with another province, because it would be the best, situation for Tyrrendor. This literally threw him through the fucking clouds for me in terms of how much I loved him.
So good in this book.
So good.
And that part was so awkward because his mom, like, Kat is there.
Yeah.
And she's like, so, like, why didn't you two? And Kat's like, I said yes, he said no. It's so awkward, first of all. And then she's like, it's only like 3 or 4 years. You should just do it. As he's sitting there with, like, his new girl, I'm like,
yeah.
what is going on? I'd be like, I fucking hate your mom. And then he's like, yeah, it's not just like we get married for 3 years and like they have to produce an heir too. And I agree.
Right.
He was just like, yeah. And she's like brokering marriage deals for him as he's there with Violet. And he was just like, yeah, sure. I literally wrote the thing, like, drop the papers, lifetime. She's like, how long? He's like, lifetime. Anything less is unacceptable. And she's like, okay. And he's like, and her full name for the papers is Violet Sorengale, 2 R's.
2 R's.
Like, kill me now. Kill me now.
I literally was like, I don't care if he's Venom, follow him. You turn Venom too. Like,
yeah, just
in my
run
head,
off on the Venom sunset.
I'm just going. I'm
Who
like,
cares about the war?
Go for it. Just go enjoy your life on the Isles as two people.
I could not believe that. And her like, the mom's like, well, that's like what me and your dad did.
I know. And that was
like,
super
you're
interesting.
Such a bitch.
Yeah. Because he's just, oh yeah, I'll go over and produce you an heir. No big deal. And then I'm going to
come here and I'll just make a whole new family. And he was like, exactly. She literally fed me chocolate cake and then laughed.
Yeah.
And then gave him chocolate
Happy
cake.
Birthday.
Read the fucking room, Talia. Read the room.
And then, obviously, Garrick getting poisoned.
How is he the only, he dug into that cake.
Can we just talk about the fact that I thought it was going to be Riddick who was going to be excited about the cake, but it wasn't. It was Garrick. He was so excited of, oh my God, this is how it was when we were kids, and just lost it and went into it.
Then he gets poisoned.
Yeah, and he gets poisoned, and then this is also the part where we both thought that Riddick died. Because
the cook stabs him.
The cook stabs him.
It's giving clue.
I have a family.
It's giving clue.
The cook with the knife.
Yeah, stabs
so
him.
Bad.
And it seemed like the stab was bad and in a bad spot.
Okay, I thought so too. I thought it was,
and it was like, it just
spleen.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, it just hit my flight leathers.
Yeah. What?
Does he have dragon armor under there too? I don't
So
know.
that was the other thing. I was like, are they producing dragon armor for all of the quest squad?
Should.
Everyone? They should. I mean,
They
people are
should.
really attacking them.
I was so glad he was okay though. That was like
So
that
good.
was crazy. And then honestly, that whole thing at the end with like Violet kind of threatening their king and being like, "Tell us what it is," because she gave them the Aaron mint, and it makes you puke. But I'm like, didn't Zayden say he should like drink this in tea? Like, I'm
They
so
put it
freaking-
with something specific that was
oh
on
oh
the
oh
island
oh
or whatever. Yeah,
oh yeah
it was
yeah yeah.
it was some combo
And he
that
just like
she
was
read.
not yielding. Like he did not care
No, and
if
she
his
was
whole
freaking
family
out.
died.
I think it finally came down to it where his 2 kids were at risk. And that meant that, obviously if they're his heir, then what happens if those 2 are gone?
Yeah.
And you're also going to be poisoned.
They're definitely going to have to go back to that isle, and it's going to be bad. And, I love when Zayden kept calling it international relations. This isn't good for international relations.
He's trying to be diplomatic. So good.
He's like, I hate being a duke.
Again,
Yeah.
just even everything he said towards Violet and the ways that he pronounced his love for her was just phenomenal. But his sass, his jealousy, every single emotion that we got from him was heightened. Like, I know that as Venom, his powers are heightened, but it seems like every single emotion we got from him was heightened, and I loved it. I was here for it.
Also, like, they have to go back to this isle, or his mom has to come back, because this is the only isle where it did not really advance the story. We met his mom, and we just find out, like, okay, he fucking hates her. Like, she went on to, like, we didn't know she went on to have another family, but, like, we didn't really learn the things around why she left, how she even came to the continent in the first place. And so we didn't really learn much. And then we don't really learn much about what the goal of their isle is, because they just like do that little threaten thing and then they bounce. And so it's the only one where there's not anything to the story. So it feels a little out of place almost.
I'm with you.
And everything Rebecca does has intention. So I think it was setting up like, this is a real fucking awkward situation here, and we're going to have to go back to it. And we're going to have to beg Zayden's mom for some help.
It's also going to be interesting, too, because I think when they go back, I don't know if Kat will be along for the ride, because obviously she had lost someone on this,
She's like, I'm done with Quest Squad.
Done with Quest Squad. I'm staying home.
I get rejected at the dinner table.
Yeah.
My boyfriend dies on this trip. Spoiler for the next part.
Yeah. But I don't think she's going to make it, but it's going to be interesting, because I think obviously they're going to have to go without Zayden, and she's going to be, Talia's going to be questioning what happened to Zayden, and I think that's going to be a huge piece. And I'm still very curious. I know that Talia and Zayden's father had that agreement that she would produce an heir, stay until a certain age, but I want to know why they went into an agreement. Like, what was the benefit for the Isles? Because
we did not
it was
get
a benefit
any
for Tyrandor, but it wasn't benefit for the Isles by any means. So I don't understand that part. So to your point, it's going to be a huge Isles that we go back to.
We're going to have to learn more there. Well, after we leave there, we go to this isle that I don't have any clue how to pronounce. Zahiln. I have no clue.
Zahiln.
It's the one that's
the goddess of luck?
Yeah, the god of luck. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and the capital is Zortris. I have no clue.
Again,
I should have listened to the audiobook for this
in my
part.
head. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
For everything.
So again, I'll leave it to Meg, the Isle expert of like, what happens at the Isle.
Okay. This one.
Number 4.
I think they end up, when they're joining, they're getting to the Isles, it's this weird celebration.
Oh my God.
This excitement for them arriving here, and whatever, they're super excited.
It's almost my favorite isle, by the way.
Oh, mine too, because it was so entertaining.
Oh, and an important note that we didn't say is King Cortland, I think is his name, from Deverelli. After the crew left, they had to go back to Navarre, because they were supposed to go like to Navarre after each of these isles, and then Violet was like, fuck that, like we got things to do, we're just gonna bounce, we're island hopping. So they like broke rules, but he literally sent a memo to all the isles like, they're coming.
Yeah.
It's giving the British are coming. He sent Paul Revere to the Isles. The British are coming.
The British are coming.
The dragons are coming.
I love this because at this point, they show up.
A full celebration for them.
Yeah, and they're just, this is weird.
They're
People
just, like,
are celebrating us. What do we do?
They're like in a field waving.
Yeah, and they go, did you guys camp out here? Oh, we were just really lucky that we showed up
We're
today
taking
and you
shifts.
were here. Yeah.
They've been like waiting all month.
Also, don't ask me why, but I'm picturing Coliseum meets the Quidditch World Cup vibes is what I see of people watching and waiting is what I
was
pictured.
picturing like the tailgating of the Quidditch World Cup meets
Yes.
carnival.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
I'm glad we're similar.
Like if Rebecca had wrote there was like ring toss happening on the side, I would have been like, that tracks.
I would have been here for it.
Bearded
You know,
lady
that's
comes out. I don't know. I just was giving circus.
Greatest Showman just starts playing in the back.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was picturing.
Okay. I'm so glad we were on the same page with the vibes there because I couldn't stop laughing on this chapter. Like, even when Trigger died, I couldn't stop laughing. And maybe I'm just demonic at that point, but whatever.
It's just like because everyone's getting these most ridiculous things, and then all of a sudden, Trigger arrow to the heart.
Arrow. And done.
Like Drake literally gets a cat.
And then he names him Broccoli.
A little kitty.
I love this.
Zayden gets like an empty box. Like, and then all of a sudden, Trigger, dead.
Dead. It was so interesting because obviously there had to be something that happened on the Isles that was a piece that changed whatever was going on. I didn't think it was going to be this extravagant thing, and honestly, Trigger dying really wasn't extravagant at all. It just kind of changed how Kat was going to feel going forward towards the rest of the situation. That's
I didn't feel anything about it. I was just like,
I was shocked. I go, oh,
yeah, I was more like,
bummer for Kat.
I was like, oh, this was all fun and games until someone dies, and then I was like, oh, we're gonna have to deal with Kat being grumpy and upset.
Exactly. Yeah,
which
I was kind of hoping,
but
yeah, I was kind of hoping that she found someone and just
settled off.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was so interesting because they obviously all get the gifts. Dane gets bitch slapped.
Oh,
and he has to say thank you. This is the arc. This is the arc for him. I go, yes, I like him. He got slapped.
I think Rebecca did that for all of us that hate him. And she was like, here, I'll throw you a bone. Like, I'll bitch slap him in the book.
Right. I won't give him a shoe that a guy wore for 10 days in a row and it stinks like ass. Like, no. He's going to get slapped.
Oh, that was my favorite that he got that.
I
loved it. And yeah, it did kind of like redeem him in my eyes because I was like, okay, he just took it.
Yeah, he just took it. Thank you. Every single one of them had to thank for something.
Thank you so much. Who got like a rusted bucket?
Was it Riddick? I feel like it might have been.
What is going on?
I don't even remember the gifts. I just remember the slap and the cat were the two main ones. Yeah,
some of them were literally Riddick. Oh no, Riddick got the kisses on the cheek.
Oh yes, okay, that's what it was.
Sign me up.
Yeah, and I was questioning if their gifts had anything to do with something that could help them in the future, or whatever. But 1,000%. I really don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, because there's some reason why the Goddess of Luck is with you in that moment, or whatever. Yeah,
but. This is a big theory I have. Violet gets a broken compass.
Yes.
And, they have to keep the gifts. They can't give them back. Like, they have to hold on to them.
Yes, they can't even re-gift them.
Yeah, they have to keep them.
Yeah.
And she, like, literally is like, the compass is broken. She was like, it's not even pointing north. Now, I need to reread that and see, was it pointing towards Zayden? I think the compass is going to, like, help her find him. And you had a great thing. You said, like, the little illuminator thing in Harry Potter.
Illuminator, yeah, it's very much Ron going back to Hermione, and it's the only way. Choof.
Violet with the compass.
Like, it's going this way now.
Oh, guys, he's southwest. Let's go.
Right.
I definitely think
bank left.
How a bucket will come into play, I do not know. But
I don't know. Is he going to smack someone up the head with it?
How broccoli is going to come into play.
Is broccoli just going to turn into this badass animal?
Is he going to be a panther?
I have no idea.
I think it'll be funny.
I'm here for it.
I mean, Riddick getting the kisses, I think maybe that was nothing, but maybe it was the kiss of death.
Yeah. Don't you dare put that into the universe, McKayla.
No, I would never. It was because he's going to get a girlfriend in the next book. I don't know. He has no potentials. Also, big important thing on this aisle, there's magic here. Because they all could talk to their dragons here.
Yes. And that has to do something with the fact that it's the Isle of Luck and that they have magic back. I don't understand. And this is where, to your point about it not being on the map, I think for book 4, it's going to be more of a map of the Isles because we don't know a lot of the Isles, but at least if we get what we have, we can definitely go back because it just focuses on the continent. I'm like, okay, I get this, but where are we going next?
And I even looked at the one that's like the back of the book because I was like, oh, maybe that one will have it because like we've been there, but it's not even on that one. So I don't know. There really wasn't much that happened on this isle, but it was just funny.
I have one bullet point about literally each person getting a gift, and it was just amazing.
And then they had to leave because they had to go bury Traeger, and Kat refused to burn him on this isle.
Yeah. So, and
but it all worked out.
All right, this is where things get interesting, is after they leave and they have to go, burn Traeger, is everyone starts going out in pairs. And Riddick stays with Violet, and, that so be it, whatever.
Well, they fly to a new place.
Yes, they fly to a new Isles, I'm sorry, and just a random local
one.
like
a little mini one that they weren't even planning to go to.
Yeah, one that they didn't really care for, didn't have any people, it was just kind of,
I think Taryn is like, oh, there's something like 20 miles off, we can go there.
Yeah, which is interesting too, because when they get here and then everyone kind of pairs off after they burn Traeger and his griffin, it's just Riddick and Violet, and then the Irids find them because it looked as if like the water was moving
came out of the
towards
water
them.
and the sand. Like, how was no one walking on them?
I don't understand that. It seems like they have camouflage. I mean, they have camouflage abilities. The fact that
do they turn to vapor?
I have no idea. It's so
definitely
weird.
They were coming out of the sand, and I was like, weren't you guys standing there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just really interesting. I swear that there's someone who okay, I'm looking at the notes. Heaton, who can breathe underwater. That's useless for most of this, but I feel like it's going to come into play with the Irids because, like, do they have their den underwater?
Oh.
The fact that no one can find where they are. Maybe. And they are magic.
Yeah, like what the fuck is Heaton doing? When's he ever using that?
I don't know. He's just going to go for a bubble bath and he can still breathe.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But we find out that the Irids are here and they've been basically tracking them and have seen them, which kind of makes sense to the camouflage thing. And Indarna, and I'm reading it and I don't even know if I'm going to pronounce it, but Indarna was the Criterion. And it was basically, she was left behind in hopes that the humans didn't use magic as weapons, that they had learned in the past, 600 years or whatever. So we find out that's the reason why Indarna had said, I was left behind for some purpose. And then obviously they go into the discussion and they do that obnoxious whistle noise that basically allows them to talk to everyone.
Yeah, I literally put like, what is this whistly thing? And can all the dragons do this, or is it just this one den? And maybe the other dragons didn't realize they had this ability.
Right, and can Indarna do that? Because that would change things if she could.
She'll be talking to everyone.
She would just be annoying everyone. Of us,
like,
guys, Taryn pissing me off.
Can I come to the war?
Right. Someone put me on a harness. I need to go.
I'm at the outpost. Is there any sheep there?
I'm very hungry.
Can someone grab my arm?
Taryn's being an asshole. Like, she's just going to be entertaining with that if she can speak to them. But that whole part was interesting to me, was the fact that they're able to speak to everyone. And the only way that they could get away with them not hearing their thoughts or out loud was them signing to each other. So that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. They brought that back, which was interesting. And I'm just sitting there. I go, do the Irids not know how to sign? Like, is that maybe one thing that they don't know how to do? I don't think dragons learn this type of thing. How do they calm?
I don't think they learned that.
I don't think they learned that. So that was the only thing that was interesting there. But as we're talking to the Irids, they won't help out because everyone's too violent. And it kind of seems like they're a little leaning towards maybe being able to hear out and figure out what's going on, because this is when they say that Indarna gave Violet too much power for whatever reason, which I have thoughts on that at the end of the fact that she can still do things even, after Indarna leaves. Like, that's interesting there. But when Xaden and Garrett come back after, they immediately realize, okay, you have a venom within your group. We're not helping you out at all. You pretty much are a lost cause. And Xaden knows at that point, one, he is the reason why that they're not helping out, and they're not going to assist whatsoever because of his presence in this group. We also have Riddick, who finds out about Xaden and rips into Violet about the fact that they're still keeping secrets, that this is why they've been going to all the Isles. It's about Indarna and her den, but it's really to find a cure for him and make sure that he doesn't lose his soul basically to becoming Venom. So it's just, that was a huge part, and I really think it goes to why Riddick's so important, because I think he brings up again of, this quest squad and that he was out here, busting his ass to make sure that she's okay and is trying to find something to help win this war basically. So it was just interesting. And then, we obviously find out that he tells Violet that her and Xaden need to tell the rest of the group because there's no more secrets from them. If they're going to make it to graduation, they need to be fully in sync with everything, which I fully support. I know that there's some interesting things about the fact that Xaden keeps that a hidden secret from everyone, obviously, because they would kill him right away. But the fact that Riddick is saying, we're going to trust our group, they're not going to do anything about it. They might be pissed, but they're not going to do anything to him, I think is a huge part of the little family they've built. And I think he is kind of pivotal in that. But
Xaden being Venom is like the worst kept secret. Everyone knows.
Yeah, I mean,
also love that Riddick says, you need to tell Rhee and Sawyer. And she says, not Dane. And he says, not Dane.
Not Dane.
Because no one's
we trust Dane a little bit, but we still hate him.
They still, the trust is not there.
Yeah.
The Irids were such judgy little assholes. I was like, look at you guys. I could not take that. When they rejected Andarna, literally broke my heart. I also loved her telling every single detail of like her whole life story to him. And the only one that I felt like was really on her side was Leothin, who comes back at the end to help her.
Yeah.
The other like ones, I don't think she had any chance of winning over. But did you catch that when Xaden shows up? I don't know how, because he did not channel. They were able to make his eyes red for a couple of seconds, and that's how Riddick found out. And then the eyes went right back to normal. So they like are able to like, I don't even know. It felt like an X-ray machine. That's how I was picturing it. Like X-ray makes, they can zoom in on people's eyes and turn them red if they're Venom.
I think that's gonna be pivotal.
And Darna's gonna be out here scanning everyone's eyes.
Right, like so let's go back. We talked about the fact that sages and mavens could be walking amongst us and not have any idea. And we talked about the glamour and thing and whatever's going on. If Irids can basically scan people like X-rays, can find out a lot more, which I think is why they kept trying to say we need to study Indarna and understand her den, because I think they're researchers, but I think they're going to kill them. I don't think they want them alive. And I think that's why they've stayed away, is they know that there's so much that they're at risk themselves, and they don't want to put themselves in that risk. They want to just live peacefully. Yeah. It's
another thing that we learn from them is all Irids are feather tails.
Except for Indarna.
Because she got a tail to protect herself. So and they're like, even your tail. So we always thought feather tails were just baby dragons, but they stay feather tails over here.
I also thought that she chose her tail, and this might just be me thinking, but she is obsessed with Taryn and Sigale, and I think she wanted to feel like a family. Yeah. I think it was 100%. More of a, no, I'm going to follow suit because he has been my mentor and he has helped me out. You guys have done nothing for me and I don't know anything because you just left me here for years.
100%.
I have to say, the fact that they said that she was left as a hope that they wouldn't,
like things would have changed.
Humans, but the fact that when Indarna says that she purposely waited to hatch until she heard about Violet, a scribe going to the Rider Squadron in a few years, like that doesn't add up to me right now at all.
Yeah. Because why?
Because yes, she was left, but why did you hatch at that point to say, I'm going to still go with this person even though that everyone's still using, like.
Yeah, because she had no clue that she was
there and waited for Violet.
Yeah.
Right.
So who put
I don't know if the Irids know this prophecy. Like I'm still going back to the paths from Dune. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it was so sweet when she was just like, Violet loves me. Violet protects me. I was like,
Yeah.
Andarna. It like literally broke my heart when they were rejecting her. And she was just like, what did I do wrong? Did I fail? And then like when they said it was Violet's fault, oh my God. It's terrible.
I know. It was terrible. And just the fact that, you know, obviously Violet stood up for Andarna. It was basically, no, it was very much a mom protecting their kids of how dare you treat her like this. And I loved it because she just kind of went into that role and everything. But, that was so sad.
Another thing that I picked up on is they kept asking, well, like, are you guys the cure? How did they defeat them? And they sidestepped every single one of those questions. They never said, no, we are not the cure. No, we are not the weapon to defeating them. They would just sidestep it. They wouldn't confirm anything.
Yeah.
And then that's when it led to them basically saying that they are so about peace, literally don't care about the venom. Like they could drain the entire earth and maybe it'd be a good thing because it would kill everyone and like everyone would have to restart. Like peace, I think it's showing like extremes on both sides. Like venom are so about being powerful and whatever. And then this is the extreme of like, we're just here for peace. Like we don't even care. At some point you have to step in.
Yeah.
And do you can be about peace and sometimes you have to be a little violent for the good of whatever's happening. And I think we will get there. I think Leothan understands that. The other ones don't. But I thought that was crazy that they were literally like, let them drain the whole world. We'll just restart.
Yeah, they did not care because, I mean, they can live for a long time. It's not like they...
Yeah, and just something to like keep in the back of our minds going into the next book that like they never confirmed that they are not the cure. And then, I don't know if you've been seeing this, but people think Violet is pregnant in the book.
I saw that.
And I did not pick up on this at all.
All the dizziness that she had?
In my reread. Like, people are like, she's so dizzy and, like, she needs to sit down a lot. And they're really concerned. They keep, like, mentioning these symptoms. I thought it was just, like, her chronic illness. And, like, you gotta rest sometimes. Like,
yeah,
you're
exactly.
riding on the back of the dragon for 12 plus hours. But there is a line where, after they're saying, like, they could literally drain it, whatever. And Darna's like, so are you guys the cure, whatever. And somehow this comes up. And it says, their offspring could evolve, perhaps. And then Andarna says, is that the Dark Wielder's cure to evolve? And they say, there is no cure. And so people think Violet could be pregnant. I think this could maybe be a line people could use. Like, are they trying to say here, if the venom have babies, they would evolve to no longer be venom? I don't know what that's trying to say.
I don't know either. I'm not bought into that idea at all because we're so early. I know it's 3 out of 5, but we're so early into the series that I don't think there's too much that can happen in 4 and 5 that if she was expecting a child, like, what are they gonna do? Just have her sit on the sidelines for a bit? I mean,
selfishly,
there's
I do
too
not
much.
want her to be pregnant because I feel like she finally is being a leader, so confident, making her pregnant. Not that like pregnant women can't do stuff, but like there are going to be limitations for her. She's not going to be on the back of a dragon at 9 months pregnant fighting the venom. She's not going to be fighting venom when she has a newborn baby. Like it's just I don't like if it goes that direction. I'm fine if like in the book 5 epilogue they ride off in the sunset and they have babies. Would love that. I just think it would like ruin her arc and her goal right now because she's not going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm pregnant, fuck that, let me just vote. Like, she's going to want to be attentive.
I know, and my thing is that I don't think that we would have such a gap in time between the books because right now it's been pretty much once one book ends, the next one literally starts the same day or the next or a couple days after. I don't see us having a
what are we gonna pick up like 6 months later? She's birthing a child,
right? Like I don't see that. The only way that, and if we were to go on this as the potential, the only way that this could happen is if there is more focus on the venom regrouping and Xaden is working on his side, and we get more of a POV from him in book 4. Like that's my only assumption is if, say, we do get Violet and she ends up being pregnant, and that is true, the time that they aren't fighting or anything is him working more on that side, and his new brother, whoever this new brother is working with him as well, which we can get into that when we go into the, the part 2. But there'd have to be a gap where she's not present as much and that there's no one trying to get into the wards at that point. Like there'd have to be something else that's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening, or at least right now I don't see it, but
I don't see it either. I'm not on board with that. Like, Violet is pregnant. I think it's just Rebecca trying to show representation for the chronic illness. Now,
I picked up on that too.
I do need to like throw one more crazy theory out there, because why not? I have 2 years to come up with these things. So this line talking about like their offspring could evolve, I'm going way back to the beginning when I said Colonel Atos, Venin. Okay? I really want him to be Venin. Sloane saying, Dane, someone like you. The fuck does that mean? Someone like you should not have this much power. Go with me here. Colonel Atos was Venin, had a baby with Dane's mom. We have no clue who the fuck she is. We've never heard anything about her.
Yeah.
So she could be Venin. She could be human, whatever. Dane is the offspring, so he is an evolved Venin. And that's why he has so much power.
Oh my God.
I think it's kind of crazy, but like I kind of would love it.
I would love that. I'm going to go full in with this on you.
Anything to get Colonel Atos to be a Venin. My 100%. Mission in life.
But if you think about it, though, if there is an opportunity where there could be the offspring thing is a key point to this conversation, and this ends up being a part in the books, the fact that Dane has power that he doesn't even know about, and he doesn't even have to get it from the ground.
Yeah.
That would, if this was the case, he would be definitely top 6 powerful, because there's something going on.
And I just, like, again, we'll talk about it in the next episode, but like that line from Sloane, people are like, on TikTok I did a video about it, and people are like, no, it's just like someone like you, like she's just being sassy towards him. And I'm like, no. Like in that moment, that's not like, they're trying to save Mira. That means something. And I'm sorry, she siphoned power for the first time out of Lilith, who was one of the most powerful riders. So she knows what power feels like. Yeah. So to say someone like you should not have this much power, so he has to have more than Lilith.
He has to.
And where's it coming
from? It. Right. And
he
if you
could
think
be
about
a Venin child.
He could be. I mean, because also the other thing too is he has been trained by his dad to basically be a little bit of a yes man and do it, by the codex, all of that stuff and everything. And it wouldn't have shocked me if, with the fact that he could read minds and everything, is the fact that there's also some other hidden things and that are going to heighten his powers in that sense too, which I know people have been mentioning that he could help out get Violet's memories back as well. So I feel like there's a lot that could happen with Dane, and this again would go into that theory of him getting a redemption arc, and maybe not in the redemption that we thought it was going to be with Violet. It's going to be with other people and how he can help out.
Yeah, like maybe he has like an antidote like in his blood.
Can you imagine? Just, we're going to take a little bit of you and give it to Zayden, because
hero of the whole story. I don't know. This is my unhinged.
I'm not opposed to it.
I honestly would never have gotten to that point if people weren't talking about this pregnant thing. Like that line when I read it, like, oh, they could evolve, and I was like, are the Venin having kids? It seems like they're immortal too. Like, what the hell is going on there?
That whole thing's questioning. Yeah.
But I don't know. Anything to get Colonel Atos to be a Venin. He would have to have been a Venin, though, before Dane was born, which means he's been working undercover for a long time.
That or his wife was.
Or the wife.
Mean, the mom could have been, and he didn't agree with it or something. Yeah.
Not even when they talk about like their childhood memories.
Mm-mm. It's all Dane being with Violet's parents or Colonel Atos or General Atos now.
Oh my God! But if this is the biggest plot twist, this is so unhinged. Dane is Theophanie's baby with Colonel Atos.
That would be so wild.
That's how we can bring her back.
I'm all for it, but I have no idea if that has any merit to it.
So unhinged, no evidence backing it up, but
yeah, extreme unhinged vibes, but that's okay.
Unhinged. Yeah, crazy. And
I'd be here for it.
Yeah, and then really the only other big thing happens. They all go back, and we find out that Queen Mariah has died. So now Kat is officially in. Well, she was always in the line, but now she's like even further up because now Takeris has become the king.
Which is also interesting because we really don't know a lot about her sister. Like, we know she's on the front lines and everything, but she kind of just pieced out.
She was in Fire and Flame.
I think she's going to come back in book 4.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be something that goes on.
Weren't really in this one, so.
Yeah.
We shall see.
was wild. All right. So like we mentioned earlier, our next episode is literally just going to be part 2, where we're going to go through the rest of the books. That'd be chapters 45, if I could speak, through 66, which probably has the most oh my god moments and probably the most reread parts, is what I'm going to assume, because of how much goes down. So I cannot wait to go there. I feel like we're going to have a lot of unhinged theories that are going to happen, and, you know, what we think could happen the rest of the series, because this is obviously where we get moments of what's going to come next, and I guess we'll see. But stay tuned, and obviously for more things, you know, Booktrovert, and see updates on our book club episodes and everything else we're doing. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Booktroverts Pod, and we also have the Fable Book Club to read along with us there. Link will be in the description, and I guess we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.